Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Super excited to have you here today. It is Sunday. It is Lumberjack Landlord live stream, and we're here to talk about anything and everything real estate. For those of you who don't know, I am the Lumberjack Landlord, 117 units and counting, and 39 buildings, all in 3 towns that will continue to expand. Many exciting things that we're going to talk about, tons and tons and tons of stuff. So yeah, we're here today to answer all of your questions, tons of things moving in the market, crisis videos, shock videos, and then what's really happening. But yeah, we'll talk about anything and everything today. Super excited to be here with you guys. I realize I'm low on water, but per a viewer, I clear my throat too much when I drink cold water. But it is a great day to be a real estate investor. If you are not following me on Instagram, big problem. Follow me on Instagram, Lumberjack Landlord. Check me out. I will be posting a lot more because my lovely daughter's treatments are ending this Friday. So we are super blessed. We thank you for all of your thoughts and prayers. And yeah, this Friday, we get to ring the bell for her final treatment. So we are super ecstatic. It's actually the first day this year I'm going to take off. But yeah, just super thrilled to be able to do that. And then without the craziness that adds to the schedule, it's going to give us a whole lot more time to do more fun real estate things. So yeah, lots of fun. But yeah, tons of stuff going on. I've got an offer out this morning. I gave him a 50-40-10 offer. I gave him a cash offer. So we're going to try and see if we can put that deal together. But yeah, I am super pumped. I got more than 5 hours of sleep last night. I don't drink caffeine, so you might want to adjust your volume because there will be shouting in a good way. So guys, super excited to be here with you today. Yeah, lots to talk about. We're going to talk a lot about the markets. I'm going to jump into questions real quick just so I don't get too far behind. But anywho, let's do this. So Pallavi Patel, good morning to all in advance. Decided today I'm not going to miss or be late on the Q&A. That's awesome. As you know, Pallavi, always love having you. Let's always chat. Give me those questions. We'll ask them. Good morning, Home Depot plumbing aisle stalker. You know it. I saved like $3,000 that, or like $2,000 that day. But here's the amazing thing. A friend of mine, blast from the past, is connected to me on LinkedIn. Guess what? She just started at Lowe's. And I was like, hey, congratulations, because that's awesome. And we all know that there's parts of Lowe's I absolutely hate. However, we're going to see how her career goes at Lowe's. She's an absolute all-star, wicked smart, super hard worker. She just crushes it everywhere she goes. So I'm very interested to see what her future looks like at Lowe's. Company she came from, she'd been there forever, super talented, super smart, absolutely crushes it. So I'm very interested to see what that looks like in the future. But yeah, good. So excited, proud of her, super pumped for her. I know it will be absolutely awesome. Let's see. Dividend Dave. I don't think you've asked a question before, but cool to have you, my man. Morning, first time here. See, I didn't. There you go. Tuning in from Bellingham, Washington. Wicked awesome. Cool to have you here. Matt Bittner, thumbs up. Thank you, my brother. Matt Bittner, have you priced heating oil and propane lately? I bet you'll be in for some sticker shock. Not in for some sticker shock. That's actually something that I have in my feed. So I see it every single day. Right now, this time of year, we also have like top offs. When people move out, we start them with a full tank. When they leave, we just have them fill that tank back up. Yeah, crazy. And so, like $6.59 a gallon is what I just paid. Yeah, $6.59 a gallon. This winter it was $3.79. But I mean, hey, I mean, the good news is like we shut down all of our, you know, or shut down a bunch of our domestic drilling. So like that was a good idea. Wanted to make sure that we let the oil companies know how much we hate them and don't need them anymore. Ugh. I told you it's going to be a sassy day, everybody. It's going to be a sassy day. This is me on 8 hours of sleep. God bless my kids. God bless my wife. 8 hours. That like almost never happens. Dion Talk Financial Freedom. Meowdy. Hello, sir. Man, they must get that all the time. Unbelievable, right? From people our age. Legacy Up. What's up, Lumberjack? What's up, my friend? Yeah, good week ahead. Andrew P. Yes, sir. Let's go. Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I won't shout because I know it's early on the West Coast still, and I don't want to ruin everyone's mid-morning coffee. Indy Zimmer. Indy is awesome. She is out here cranking it. She is consuming multiple live streams a week, taking in the data, creating her buy box. I see her posting in the groups. Indy, go get it. You're going to do awesome. Keep on doing the work. Be ready. Get ready for what's going to happen because the market is shifting for sure. But real quickly on a local note, open house, not in a town that I do business in, town next door to it. Open house yesterday, 14 people in that open house, 5 offers coming. Yeah. It would appear as though they haven't get the memo that the price is crashing. Because it's not. Transactions, yes, way down, but that's largely impacted because of inventory. Anyway, let's see. Andrew P. got the lumber. Hell yeah, I do. Lumberjack energy today. Yeah, 8 hours. Give me 8 hours. No crying babies waking me up or kids smacking me in the face at 5:30 in the morning. Yeah. Oof, this is going to be awesome. It is going to be awesome. Dividend Dave. Oh, saying hi to Dion. Very cool. Rob, Matt, do you use Zelle for rent payment collection? So I don't use Zelle. I try and narrow it down to PayPal and Venmo, and then cash, check. And then we also, our property management system will actually let you pay online, and it just takes $1.95 fee, and the tenant can pay the $1.95 fee. So we don't get a deduction on the $1.95, but they do. But that's okay because a lot of them would rather do that than write a check or Venmo or whatever. So, and we have a lot of people that pay rent that are more than $2,000 a month. I'd say that's a majority of our portfolio, is more than 2K. And so that's a decent sized transaction in Venmo or PayPal, but still something that they do because it's once a month. So yeah, pretty cool. So I don't use Zelle. Andrew P., congrats on the end of treatment for your daughter. Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a long road. We have been in quarantine since she started, which was Labor Day weekend 2021. So we've been doing this for 9 months, right? Yeah, coming up. Yeah, right about 9 months. No, 10 months. Yeah, right about 10 months. So super excited. We are super blessed. Yeah, and grateful. Just really grateful, super excited. It's awesome. Very awesome. Indy Zimmer, God bless you and your family. Thank you very much. He has. We are blessed immensely. Robert Farinelli, hello, Matt. Good morning, sir. Catherine Miller Crow, good morning. Good morning. It's more than morning, Catherine. It's a good morning. Robert Farinelli. So someone apparently has a contact that said propane and LP gas is going 3 to 7 times in price. Thoughts on this claim? No. Nope. No way it's going 3x where it is now. Propane? No way. Nope. Impossible. No way. No way. That would mean that you're looking at like 16, 17 bucks a gallon. No. Nope. Nope. No way. If that is the case, so one of the things that we do with the number of units that we have is we actually have electric heaters, the nice ones. They will heat up to, they say 1,500 square feet, not really true. They're pretty good for, 500 to 600 square feet. And so if by chance something crazy like that happened, I've got probably 50 of those units. And so we could deploy those because then electric would be less expensive. If propane went to 16 bucks a gallon, or 7X, which would be, I mean, 40 bucks a gallon. Like, no, like, yeah, no way. Nope, no way. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. Eastern told me that propane is 480 right now. Seems impossible to 7X. Yep, I totally agree. Dude, it's 35 bucks a gallon. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not happening. Give me 1 second. Okay. That's my offer. So if you guys see me look down at my phone, I am a working landlord. This is what I do. Well, it's one of the things I do. So I've got an offer in. We're trying to put the deal together. That's my agent. That's why my noise is usually off. I'm leaving it on for today's session because I got to get the deal. That's what we do. That's what we do here. That's the only way that I can afford to fund my channel that makes no money. I love it. Nathan Meredith, morning all, morning lumberjack. Nathan, awesome to have you here, my friend. Matt Bittner, propane and heating oil could go a lot higher this winter. Yeah, I don't disagree that it could go higher. You know, I don't disagree that we could even see $7, $7, $8 a gallon. I don't disagree with that. Don't disagree with that at all. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. Yeah, that's what we're preparing for, actually. Quite honestly, we're preparing for much higher fuel prices. Every single lease that we're renewing has us not paying fuel. I don't want to pay fuel. I do not want to pay fuel this winter. Nope, no way. No way, Jose. So yeah, I don't disagree. I think it's going to be higher. Again, I'm not sure if you guys saw the video. I did a video with Mike Zuber, one rental at a time. Here's the facts. I know people in the oil field and in that line of work, but also literally field people. I can tell you honestly, what they're saying about the XL pipeline is a total and complete lie, flat out lie. It is 8 to 9 months of hard work to get XL going. If we had started that and not stopped it last year in January, we would have been done by, at the latest, September, October. We still have the chance now. The issue that we're having is on the refining side. If you dig deep, you will find the truth. And the fact is the truth. This is factual. This isn't conspiracy theory or some weirdo left, website. It is fact. The refiners changed in that area where that pipeline comes to. They changed a bunch of their systems to process those oil sands. That's not something that they normally get. Because of that, because they changed that, they don't have as much capacity as they used to refine normal crude. So this is what's having to happen. They're having to retrofit. There's a problem there with money coming out. That is an issue. So that is going to be the problem, largely what you will find. So yeah, I don't doubt at all that prices could touch something insane this winter time. We need a better strategy. We need to be working with the oil companies, not taking them over, but working with them and making sure that they have some assurances that we're not going to basically shut them down again and stop signing leases. And yes, there's a bunch of leases that aren't developed, but they're lower yield leases that cost a lot more money to develop, thus not really helping tremendously with the price. Anywho, it's amazing what you know when you can do a bunch of research and you know some people in the field. That being said, Dividend Dave, what advice do you have for first-time homebuyers, investors to weather recession when buying property? So I bought all the way down. I bought when pricing was still going down in 2009. The only way that I could get a loan, I couldn't get an investor loan. So that was part of my house hacking strategy. Because I couldn't get an investor loan, what did I do? I house hacked. So I would go in, I would rehab it. Sometimes I did it with a 203K loan where I would get $35,000 from the bank. You don't get it all up front. You basically get 17.5 up front. You do a bunch of the work. And then you basically fund the next 17.5, and then they give you a reimbursement after they do the inspection. Here's the really important thing is that now with as little inventory as there is, people don't have to do that because there's so many cash buyers wanting to buy those properties. You will see that start to shift. The thing that we did a video on my channel on Friday with Mike Zuber from One Rental at a Time really does speak to how I feel about the situation. I'm still buying deals today. I don't care that the rate is 5.5, 5.75, 6%. I don't care. Does the deal make sense now today? Period. Does it now make sense today? Period. I'm getting 30-year fixed rate debt. I know. I have more than 10 mortgages. I have found a lender that said, we have a product. I actually worked with them to create it. They have made it available for other customers, but it is a product that if you've already exhausted your 10 Fannie Freddie mortgages, they're saying, we still want to take the paper on those deals. We're just going to in-house them now. Cool. The agent, the broker. So they still in-house them now. They'll still give me deals. I'm going to take the deals, guys. If it performs now today and the numbers are good today, again, what's my rule? I won't do a deal unless it's 20%. Guess what? These two deals I'm looking at, both of them will yield me 20%. The other thing you guys need to do too is watch the videos I did on Friday with Mike. They are crusher videos, guys. These are ones where I show you my rent box and how I get 20% out of my deals. I guarantee there's deals like that you can find in your market. If you're hovering around 6, 8, 10%, I know that there's opportunities to create 20% with some value add. This is how I do it. This is why all my deals crush. And this is why my numbers, this is why bank calls me to say, any projects you want to do, we're going to give you some money. We'll see how long that lasts, but so far it's lasting. It's going pretty well. Yeah, watch those two videos. I did one video specifically talking about the rent box. That's what helps me accomplish 20% returns, a lot of it. And then the other video as well. Those two killer videos, watch them, make sure you make the time. So my advice, closing it out, Dividend Dave, my advice is you buy great deals, period. You buy great deals. That's it. I buy great deals. I haven't put an offer in on anything for 3 months because every deal that came across my desk was garbage. Every deal I found was garbage. It was under 10%. And I know that if I hold out and get the great deal, I know I can execute. So yeah, brokers doing his business. He's crushing it for me. Love that too. Jay, thank you, brother. Keith Hager, how can I handle retirement or remorse? Already FI on rentals. So here's how you handle that. In all honesty, no joking, all kidding aside, you help other people. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. We need to have purpose in life. People that have lost hope, people that aren't productive, people that aren't doing things, they lose hope. They get stuck in the muck and the mire. They get depressed even if they have money. So stay involved, help others. That's how you do it. That's the only reason for this channel. YouTube is literally, I make more in an hour sleeping than YouTube pays me in a month. More in an hour sleeping than YouTube pays me in a month. I make more money when I sleep. That's the way it goes. So that's what I would encourage you to do, Keith. You know a ton about this. You're financially free. You have that independence. Help others. Help others. Help others do what you're doing. That's my best advice for you. Robert Fiorinelli. So my IBC is up and running, but seems to be firing when I'm not using hot water. I thought it was supposed to be off during the summer and only turn on when using hot water. Any idea what's going on? I don't. Mine's only ever kicked on when it's calling for hot water, or heat. It's one of the two. That's the only time it's ever kicked on for me. So I don't know why else it would be. Bitcoin man. What is retirement remorse? Keith Hager, why? Keith, feel free to chime. Bitcoin, fire hazard though. Not a fire hazard, not these kind. At the level that something becomes combustible, no, not a fire hazard. Incorrect. Incorrect. Have you started banging on OP contractors? OP contractors. I don't know what those are. OP. Tell me what those is. Tell me what those are. I'll finish it. I was looking for what you were going to say. Did it? Yeah, I don't know what an OP contractor is. I don't punch a clock, but I am a realtor broker. Okay, 69, I'm ready to travel. I self-manage. Dude, travel, brother. Travel, self-manage. Make sure you have somebody that's there to take care of stuff when you go away. Help somebody. Help somebody. You help people buy houses, but help somebody. Share your knowledge. Help. Go to a local meetup. Become a mentor. Help. There's a shortage of mentors in this space. I don't have time to mentor one-on-one, so you guys get me Sundays. That's how I try and help. I'm very sad that I'm almost out of water. Do you love to travel internationally? I prefer to stay at home. Bitcoin man, I'm with you. I get exhausted traveling internationally. I did it for years. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. It was a nice experience, but I always came home way more exhausted, behind on everything. That would then get me more exhausted. Yep, not for me. Dion is the man. If you need advice from somebody on how to travel well internationally, Dion's the dude. He crushes it. He vacations like and not the time, but in a way that I hope to someday vacation. We're well on our way. I'll put it that way. Matt Bittner, Warren Buffett's lobbying in favor of his train investment has some to do with the Keystone XL not getting completed. For sure. Yeah, I don't doubt it at all. Listen, for every little thing like that, or for every big thing like that, there's absolutely lobbying on both sides. Totally get it. At the end of the day, while Warren might be a brilliant investor, you know what? Imagine America being an energy superpower, i.e., creating and producing more than we use. Holy crap, things would change. Oh my word. Oh my word. Whew. It'd be awesome. Ha, I tell you. Man, I've even got too much energy for me this morning. But man, that 8 hours was good. Matthew Paris. Hey, good morning, Matthew. Jamie and Curly. Hi, Matt. I missed this. So glad I made this one. Jamie and Curly, I appreciate you. Thank you for saying something. Thank you for showing up. Johnny Cashflow Ramirez asking us how us freaks are. We are freaking good. Thank you, Johnny Cashflow. Bitcoin man, which video is that? The same video was posted over and over again yesterday. So Mike and I record on my channel on Fridays. I post, and then he posts them on his channel on Saturdays. That's how he does it. My preference is that he posts them on Sundays, but it's cool. He's gracious enough to give his time. I give him the content, even though we created on my channel, but I'm happy to do that because this is what he does like 5 or 6 hours a day, 5 hours a day, probably. So yeah, I don't have that kind of time. I still have a real job. Every day for him is Saturday. Matthew Paris. Good. Oh, so which video, Bitcoin man? I'll tell you in one quick second. Hopefully this is, I don't think this should mess up my live stream. It's not letting me into my studio. All right, not letting me into my studio. Now I can't tell you. They're the three I posted. Friday. They're the three I posted Friday on my channel. Only three I posted. I think they went live at like 2 o'clock on Friday. They're there. You'll see them. They don't have nearly enough views, in all honesty. People not watching those, that rent box, People know what the buy box is. They have no idea what the rent box is. You guys are missing out. That rent box crushes and will help you get massive returns. But Matthew Paris, good morning. Please ask Mike to get off his crash kick of his. Yeah, it feels like he's forcing, especially with his new thumbnails. He doesn't do his thumbnails. He doesn't do his thumbnails. He has somebody else do them. You guys might be wondering what I was chewing. I was eating nuts and apparently one fell in my cup. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, if you listen to what they're saying though, they're talking about crash. They're just not saying the word transactions. We're going to get there. Transactions crash first, then real price reductions, not the stupid off wish price. Yeah. So, and then after that happens, you have to go down quite a bit, like depending on the market, 15, 20, 25%, not off of list, but off of their realized price, even another 10 or 15% off of that. And then you're negative from last year. That's how far off they are. Somebody just talked to me about $100,000 price reductions. I've been sent a number of those examples. If those houses sell at now what they're reduced to, it's still 25% higher than what it was worth last year. Come on, like take the extra step, do the extra step of work. It's going to make you smarter. Jenny Medina, holy cow. My son changed his name to J-Man. Excited to see you. I love it. As a future professional wrestler, that'll be awesome. He can say he had the name since he was 5 or 6. Karen Molnar, good morning. Helping others, love it. Yeah, you got to do that. You got to help others. Got to help others. I do the best that I can. I'm not that good at emails and things like that because I've almost always got a kid. And then when the family goes to bed, then I start working. So I try to get to as much as I can, but sometimes I don't get to it all. That's for sure. Don Etherton, good morning. Hey, good morning, Don. Sitting in the Home Depot parking lot. Haven't we all, right? Matthew Paris, OP like the cigarettes, other people's. That's nice. Trucker Bear, OPM, other people's money. Got it. Cool. Thank you guys. Jenny Medina, when's your last day at the W-2? Good question, Jenny. So it was going to be we're still in the works. We're still in the works. I want to make sure to be honorable to people that were honorable to me. And so I am making sure that from a transition perspective, that everything is in place, everything is set up. They are absolutely in the proper position to make sure that there's as little disruption when I ride off into the sunset on a bull. So yeah, so not sure a final date yet. It's much more about readiness than it is about a specific date. 45/6/14 still the date to hit, which for me is January 5th of 23. So we're still tracking that. Yep, have to. Okay. My friend from Lowe's. All right. So yeah, great question, Jenny. Rob, who doesn't have a real job first, Dion or Matt? Good question. So somebody said that. Oh, you said that, Rob. You turkey. Rob said that. Dion's got 8 years on me. So I guarantee you, based on years, I will have a job. I will be out of a job sooner than him. He's already said it's between tomorrow and 3 years from now when he retires. I don't think he makes it the full 3. by choice. And for me, I literally have everything ready. For me personally, I have everything ready to retire. Do you guys really care that much about the hat? Yeah. I'll take it off. Yeah. Panda Punch. What up, my dude? How you doing? I saw your check mark. You jumped out. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Yeah, so other people's money. Yeah, I mean, we're hasn't transitioned that fast yet. It hasn't transitioned that fast yet. I'm still paying up for contractors. They're still busy. It'll start to slow. It's starting to slow down for them. It's just not slow enough for them. Not yet. Jenny Medina, show some love, like the video. He helps so many people. Oh, thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. Yeah, likes, subscribes. That's the only thing that helps YouTube pick up the algorithm, guys. That's it. That's it. Rentbox is pure lumberjack gold. Matthew Paris, thank you, my friend. Yeah, you guys got to watch that. That's killer. That's honestly, I told a story last week on my live stream. Most of you remember it. I'll give you the abridged version for those of you who didn't hear it last week. I hear all the time from people that tell me, guess what? You overpaid. Oh yeah. Based on your 2 rentals experience, I overpaid. Okay. Teach me, show me how. I said, based on what? I wanted to hear him. He said, rents on this property are $2,000 to $2,200 a month. What you just paid is a couple percent, maybe. I said, oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Oh, well, I'll try and muddle through. The pinhead. That's why I made the rent box for you guys. Honestly, Mike had the buy box. I got the rent box. The reason I put the rent box together was because of that conversation that I had with that guy. He has no idea. He inspired brilliance, if I do say so myself. Of course, kidding, guys. So it is, but it is brilliant. The fact of the matter is it is brilliant because it gives you it shows you massive return. He was counting on that property only getting $2,200 max for rents. I know better. I'm getting $3,000 a month for those units. Identical. In fact, smaller with less parking. $3,000 a unit. I'm $6,000 a month on that building right now. You know what my returns are? 27.8%. Crushing. I got my son doing this. And he goes, cash flow, Dad. Cash flow. He's 4. Love it. I'm teaching in the business. He'll be buying real estate before he's allowed to sign a contract. So yeah, guys, just, oh man, there's just a ton of opportunity out there. You can buy a great deal today. I've got one contract in. I'm looking at another place tomorrow to put a contract in on that as well. The numbers work, baby. They work. 20% down for me. I can get a deal done on those properties where I'm gonna see 20% returns. Yes, the rents are a little bit low, but they're not horrible. But I'll get in there. I'll watch over the building. I'll do some fixes, make them feel like we're going to do the right thing as good landlords, because that's what we do. We're giving them that good feeling, the good vibes, the love, fixing things that they've been complaining to their landlord about for quite some time. We'll fix them, take care of them, make them feel the love. And then guess what? Hey, we'll do it. Binder strategy, like my good buddy Dion talks about the binder strategy. I do a revised strategy. Most people I talk to, they hate the confrontation of doing it in person. So it's very, very, very easy to do this via text. Almost everybody that we rent to is kind of in that mid demographic of like 23 to 43. So they're all avid texters. We have a conversation via text, which is, hey, loved having you as a tenant. Time to do a lease. Here's some other properties around you that are a lot like this one. This is what they're renting for. Wanted to find out what you thought would be a fair number to move forward. If I can do it, I'm happy to do it. If I can't, I understand. And it's been great having you guys. You can count on me for a great landlord reference. Every single time they get back to me, every single time they give me a number, Sometimes we've made it work. One time the guy was like, it was a complete and total joke. And I just said, I can't get anywhere near that. So I wish you the best. And then guess what? Came back with another number. I was like, still not good enough, because it just wasn't good enough. And then he came back. And so I'm waiting for him to come back with a third number. And maybe he comes back with a third number. Maybe he doesn't. And if he doesn't, fine. See you. Bye. All good. Whew, you guys had a lot to say. Johnny Cashflow Ramirez, rent box video link posted. I don't see it in the group, but it is posted on, I don't think I can put it in the chat because I think that screws things up, but I could be wrong. Dion would know. Dion, I don't have a real job now. I mean, kind of. With the amount of vacation that you take, it's awesome. He's my hero. Prasanna. Hey, Prasanna. Good morning. Are you in contract of any Yes. No, I have an offer out right now. So I did 10 last year. I've done 5 this year. Is it 5? Yeah, I've done 5 this year. And I have 1 offer out now that's being presented tonight. And then I have another one that I'm going to look at tomorrow that I'm going to make an offer that will get presented, but it's not under contract. Good question. But yeah, I do this work every day. So would you say Adventure Consulting, yeah, Reventure, was correct about some of the things he has said? No, you're not correct when you call it 2 years early. You're not correct. He has said as recent as a week ago that the market's down 30%. He's a moron. He's wrong. There is no city where realized prices are 30% lower than where they were last year. That's not true. Factually not true. Nope. So I'm sure there must be something that he said that's true. I just haven't seen it yet because I can't watch all the crap that he puts out. Most of it's garbage and wrong. It's just factually wrong. If it's a 30%, and like he was basing things on Zestimates, even Zillow says that their Zestimates should not be taken as appraisal value. Number one. Number two, Zestimates were based on the same AI that brilliant company Zillow used to buy billions of dollars worth of properties that they just took a $500 million loss on, selling 2,000 homes at the same time in the stroke of a pen to one buyer. So no, I mean, largely speaking, no. I'll give credit where it's due, but he's been wrong. He's been telling people for 2 years, don't buy, don't buy, don't buy, don't buy. And he's wrong. He's been flat out wrong. If you listen to him, you left millions and millions and millions of dollars, millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. People have lost millions of dollars collectively. Some have lost millions or hundreds of thousands in specific markets. Yeah, so sorry, no credit. I'm sure if you can find something that he said that was accurate, 100%. But these 30% crashes realized or 20, there is nothing that is 20% lower than or 30% lower than what it sold for last year. There isn't. And 30% off the Zestimate number, guys, I have a video coming out that shows you the Zestimate versus what my real appraisal said versus what Ownerly said. Those sites are not nearly as good as people think they are. And they're quite frankly about as accurate as he is. This is what happens when you talk about something that you're not doing on the daily. It's like me giving weight loss advice. Like, are we joking? Or how to have a clean shave. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So yeah, maybe eventually, but not now. Panda Punch. What up, guy? What up, Panda Punch? Good to have you. Matt Bittner. I wonder how much longer we will have to wait until homebuyer sentiment gets bad and becomes mainstream. Yeah. I mean, I think that usually comes down to jobs. So that usually comes down to people feeling secure in their jobs, concerned in their jobs. Am I going to be able to make my mortgage payment? Am I going to be able to buy this new house? When I buy this new house, will I still have a job to then pay for it? So yeah, it'll be interesting to see that for sure. Hey, Matt, I know you've used HELOCs in the past. Is it possible to refinance once the 1-year teaser rate has expired if the property went up substantially in value during that first year? So yes, it is. But what changes, and this is what something that people are not talking about this enough, and it's rubbing me the wrong way. Mid-sevens credit scores, significant W-2 and significant rental property income, banks were telling me no in 09 and 10. The only way they would do a deal was owner occ. People don't understand. If the economy goes into recession, banking standards tighten greatly. When they tighten greatly, people that were getting yeses before start getting nos, especially investors, especially investors. That's why I'm saying I bought all the way down. My only option was buying owner occs at that point. Now, it was my strategy, so I didn't mind, but other investors were getting shut out because they couldn't get loans. They couldn't get loans. They couldn't get deals. That's also what kept the inventory on the market, was the number of people that qualified didn't have what was needed by the bank to get the deal done. By the way, I learned it from watching you. Thanks, John. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Yeah. So I did HELOCs, but I got burned by a HELOC. I was working on a project. Bank sent me a letter saying we shut it off. Instantly, my debt utilization or my credit utilization on that goes to 100%. I couldn't pay for the next phase of the project. I had to scramble to pay for the stuff that had already been done because I wasn't going to leave my contractors in a lurch. I moved heaven and earth to have to pay that. And that was because they shut my HELOC off. Guys, HELOCs get shut off very quickly because the way the bank recognizes a HELOC, all right, story time. The way the bank recognizes a HELOC is money that is leveraged and put out there. Even when it's not put out there, it's part of taking up their reserves. They give me a $100,000 HELOC. I'm waiting to find the right property to buy something. The bank has to mark that as we have $100,000 potentially in play. Two bad things. One, they can't have that much dead money in the market. Two, they can't have that much money in the market. What I mean by dead money is it's not making them any money because I haven't made a withdrawal. Two is when they do that, they can't do mortgages. Those mortgages, when they do that mortgage, it's guaranteed return on capital, right? It's guaranteed return on capital. When they do a HELOC, it's a rate of return that they will get, but only when the money's been withdrawn. That's why that's the first thing they shut down. When numbers start getting bad, HELOCs shut off. No joke. That's what happens, guys. You watch. That's exactly what will happen. Do you want to talk financial freedom? I don't have a real job now. I know. We've talked about that. I love it. Good for him. It's what happens when you're brilliant, right, Dion? Making the magic happen. Gloria Perez. Good morning, Lumberjack. Good morning. Where or who should I use as a lender if I already own 3 properties with mortgages on them? 2 out of the 3 homes are rentals here in South Florida. The other I live in. My favorite is small local banks. Those are my favorite, small local banks. Sorry, I just saw that was annoying the heck out of me. Small local banks. I used to do, so I'll give you my first 5 mortgages. GMAC Mortgage, now defunct. GMAC Mortgage, now defunct. Wells Fargo, most wish they were defunct. Countrywide, defunct. PNC Bank, not defunct, but then sold it. And then then they passed a law, Fannie Freddie did, that said no more than 4 mortgages per person. Well, I already had 4 mortgages. I had 5. So I couldn't buy another rental property because they changed the limit from 10 to 4 to limit their exposure, because some landlords were just walking away from properties because they're like, well, a landlord is likely to walk away because he doesn't live there, whereas a homeowner will likely stay because they live there. So I went to a small local bank. They were willing to do deals with me. I was like, cool. So I did 2 deals with them. Then they were like, we're not going to do any more deals with you. Okay. Then I went to the next bank. They're like, yeah, I'd love to have you. This is awesome. I did 4 deals with them. We're not going to do any more deals with you. Okay, cool. Went to the next bank. I did deal after deal after deal. And then all of my deals get approved by something called a loan committee at that bank. Well, they started seeing the returns on my deals. They got very comfortable with the income that I make on my deals. And they love the fact that everything cash flowed and cash flowed well, that I clearly what was considered at that time a good operator. I'm a good operator. I know how to operate my properties. I know how to get a profit. I know how to maintain a good property so it doesn't, fall into squalor. Word of the day. And so they got comfortable with that. I've now done 26 deals with them. 26 deals. Yep. And I can go millions of dollars more. Yeah. Yep. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. So I would go to small local bank for that reason specifically. Create relationships. Your network is your net worth. Reach out to multiple small local banks. Tell them exactly the position that you're in. One of the things that I would look at is your rate is probably amazing. You're not going to touch that. So really understand what those ramifications are if you start looking to do something and change up those mortgages. Hopefully that helps. Patient 0, not seen you before. Glad you're here though. What would you say was your worst deal that you've done? What was the adjustment that you've made to learn from it? Great question. Worst deal I ever did was I bought in a transition neighborhood. It was transitioning from, I thought it was transitioning from C to B. 3 years earlier, that property had been more like D. So it went from D to C. It was there for about 3 years. Then it was transitioning from kind of C to D quality, i.e. you were getting better quality tenants. That part of town was getting built up better. And then the Great Recession hit. When that Great Recession hit, I got obliterated. I had 30-year fixed rate debt. I had a fixed payment, but the tenants that I was now getting were complete and total garbage. Had I known now what I knew then, I would have engaged public housing to try and get, if I was going to get a bad tenant, at least get a bad tenant with, with consistent rent, i.e. coming from somebody else other than them, i.e. bad credit scores when I mean bad tenant. So usually what I've seen in my area is that those credit scores from those programs, I have never seen anybody with a score in the 700s. Not once. I've been doing it only a year, but I've never seen anybody with a credit score of 700. So I continue to go down that path. So my lessons learned were I paid up for the transition, shouldn't have. I should have had a better part of strategy around housing because that property then literally hurt me I couldn't sell it. When the crash happened over a course of like 2 years, that market came down probably 25%. I was stuck with that property. I couldn't sell it. Nothing was going to change or happen. I was flat out. I was just screwed. So what I learned from that was be careful when buying in transition. Make sure you have another strategy that you can pivot to. And even the returns on that deal, they were good, but I didn't know enough about that market to know that they were good and not great. So I should have held out for a different deal where I saw great. So patient 0, awesome question. Let me know if that answered it for you. Panda Punch, I was recently brought into a land dev team. Yep, but wanted to do my own thing also. Should I be considering getting into housing right now or maybe wait? Panda Punch, what I just talked about is really what I feel. I'm still doing deals right now today, but the deal has to today make sense. For me, I'm not building anything now because I have no idea what the debt structure is going to look like when I finish it in 12 months. No idea. So because of that, really where real estate people fail is debt structure and lack of capitalization. I don't want to put capitalization at risk when I don't know what the exit is. And anytime I'm looking at a deal, I know I have multiple off ramps, and that's the key. So I wouldn't say don't invest now. I would just say, depending on what the asset is, depending on what the debt structure is, that's what I would be looking at. Keith Hager, what are your top 5 favorite inspirational books for real estate? I'm the worst. That is not the right question for me. I have never read a real estate investment book except for Mike Zuber's, and I read it after he gave it to me. I'd never read it. I hadn't ever read it. So in the last 20 years, the only real estate investment book that I read was his, and it was in year 20 of my journey. Yeah, true story. I'm a doer, and I learn by doing. I ask a lot of questions. I ask other people the mistakes that they made. Yeah, that's how I learn. So yeah, so I would recommend at this point, I would recommend Mike's book. I've read it. It's good. It gives people it gives people the structure that they need to understand is kind of part of this. So yeah. Yeah. So sorry. Yeah, I'm not a reader. I consume a lot of data, but I don't really read any books. I'm not an avid reader. 9th grade dropout, it's hard for me. Ninja Vanish 24/7. Love it. Have you considered setting up a solo Roth 401k when you finally slow down, or recycling capital into buying more properties? This might be something Dion could benefit from if he doesn't refinance. So I don't handle anything on the financial side except for the debt on the properties. Everything else goes my CPA and my EA, my enrolled agent, which is kind of a step above a CPA. Everything goes to him. And then we meet about it every 60 days to talk about planning. So I am not so here's how I believe people get elite. I am elite in this gap in real estate. I can buy a property amazingly. I can fix a property amazingly. I can create deals. I can create cash flow. I can create return. I can create value. All of those things I can create. I am not an expert on the CPA, taxes, depreciation, cost segregation, bonus depreciation, real estate professional, none of that stuff. That's all tax strategy and business formation. I really rely on my CPAs and my EAs that I work with to do that sort of stuff. Yeah, that's the truth. So what you're saying is you could 100% be correct. I just have no idea. Rob, OP is overpriced. Overpriced contractors? Yeah, I got plenty of them. They've started pricing on some of my projects has gone down. A roof I saved about 22% on. A siding job I just did, I saved about 10% on. So I did okay. So yeah, overpriced contractors. That's funny. Oh man, I'm so far behind. Holy Toledo. Man, I suck. Jenny Medina, you and the other 3 amigos and your wife are great. Best real estate advice given. Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. I think so too. Ashley's awesome. She's a great wife too. And I know that she wants to get back to doing the Mr. and Mrs. Lumberjack thing. And so we'll start doing that when she stops having to drive to Mass General, which is about an hour away for us. She does that trip a lot. So literally in the last 10 months, if you slice the days in half, she spent that many in Boston and that many home. And so that means I've spent that many home with our other two kids, my 4-year-old, my now 3-year-old. So yeah, it's been a journey, but I'm excited to get that stuff back. But thank you for saying, I think it's pretty good advice. Hey, at the end of the day, I really am not giving advice. I'm really just giving you my experience, and what you do with my experience. Hopefully it helps you learn and avoid a pitfall, because I've made pitfalls, but hopefully my successes inspire you that you can do it too, because I believe you can. I don't think everybody can, don't get me wrong, but I believe you can. Matthew Paris, I was listening to a video with you and Mike yesterday where you said you're hearing from people who have doubled rents from 4 and 5 years ago. I just turned a unit after 5 years. Yeah. Yep. Yep. True story. LV, teach me. Lumberjack. I like your hairstyling. Oh, thanks. Yeah. It's called showered last night, didn't use gel, but had a hat on so far today. We'll call it lumberjack chic. But thank you. Matthew Paris, they started with us at $850 a month. We raised them to $1,000 a month over 5 years. Just re-rented it at $1,400 after painting, and there you go. $1,400 after painting and bedroom floors. Guys, this is what I'm telling you. At the end of the day, if people don't want to pay up and work with you, I just had a tenant that we extended, and we extend them for a very small fraction. They do the landscaping. They never call me. They take care of all of their own problems. Guess what? I basically covered my extended nut with taxes going up, water, sewer going up. I more than covered that with a little bit more cushion, but they stayed because they're great tenants. But the people that are marginal tenants, dude, if I'm going to keep you, you're going to pay market. And if you're, or just below market. Yeah, 5 years. I mean, you didn't double, but you got pretty dang close. What is that? 50%, 60%, 70%. Yeah, I mean, you're 70% over where you were 5 years ago. That's awesome. Jay Medina, you get returns like that because you know the market and your cost of money, which is key. Yep, know my market, cost of money, but also I'm really good at creating value, i.e. the things to do when you're looking at the house that's going to give you a perceived higher value in the rental market. So yeah, that's true. Thank you. Anna K, good morning. Hey, Anna, good morning. Good to have you. Jenny Medina, what software did you decide to switch to manage your rentals, and how's it working out? Great question, Jenny Medina. It is working out awesome. Door Loop is what we chose. They're built and designed for larger landlords. And so their flat fee is $200 a month. And then once you get over 200 units, it then starts to go up like $1 a unit after that per month. So I don't mind paying the $200 a month because the software is absolutely freaking fantastic. I mean, just easy. People filing issues, then I can assign it to a contractor I built in the system. Just like, yeah, awesome. Talk to me come tax time. We'll see. It looks like it's going to be pretty awesome. But yeah, right now I love it. It's given me the ability to actually have agents showing my units while I'm in quarantine, where we set up an application, then we give them like 3 things that we want up front to get them the showing, and then we give them a full application after that, which allows them to then truly qualify for the unit. And setting it up that way gives her a link where we set it up for an address. We literally give her a link. Anybody that she converses with or does an inquiry on, she says, hey, so great to meet you. Thank you so much. Please check out the app. Just do the first 3 steps. If you do the first 3 steps, then you can see the place. And then after that, we'll do a showing with you. If you pass the first 3 steps, that's how we do it. And it's been awesome to work with her through that process. So yes, we use Door Loop. Love it. Panda Punch. I was recently brought into a land dev team. Oh, okay. Same question. I think you re-hit that same question. Dion Talk Financial Freedom. You have the option to post links off. Only you can prevent forest fires. I mean, post links. All right. I will find that link and I will put, I think, yeah, I will find a way to do that. I will find a way to do that. Robert Farinelli, I have a bunch of rent box questions. So being propane now, I would assume natural gas, mini split, propane, oil, electric baseboard. Yeah, so the rent box really is just trying to understand, if you can get the number of what their heat was last year. But for me, I don't see, like, electric heating is almost always like a top floor. So yeah, you can change whatever it is in there. If it's oil, if it's nat gas, whatever it is. For me, nat gas makes me feel the best. And then I would say it's probably oil. And then I would say propane. And then I would say electric. Mini splits around here, I've only got them one or two places. They perform all right, but on those wicked frigid days, almost always there needs to be some sort of a supplemental heat source. So yeah, so far so good. Gloria Perez, do you think it will eventually become a renter nation? I believe those that rent largely rent by known and unknown choices. I think some people have to rent because they just don't make enough money, but they spend money in other areas that if they really got tight, if they really said mission critical, only what we need, and they made the goal becoming a homeowner in 5 years, I think anybody can accomplish it. Truly do. I think anybody can accomplish it. House hack, I did it. Room hack, not in your own room, but rooms in maybe an apartment. Where if you have great credit, you get the lease and then you rent out that other room. I really truly believe that whether known or unknown, that people remain renters based on decisions known or unknown that they make. I think that, yeah, I think Wall Street is in these assets. They continue to grow their share in the market of how much they're purchasing. And then you've got iBuyers and things like that, who largely speaking, I think are going to get their asses handed to them, just like Zillow did. I think Open Door is going to get crushed. I think a lot of these places are going to get absolutely killed. Bezos just invested in a business that does percentages of single family home owning. So it's like they buy a house and you own a 1, 2, 3, 10, 15% share of that home. And then you get the residuals after that. For all that stuff, it always comes down to management fees. That's what it almost always comes down. And there's a lot of companies out there that are bad at qualifying tenants and getting great tenants in there. Like what happens, on that house when you get the wrong tenant because they didn't screen properly, or they got a professional tenant and there's $30,000 in losses. Like then what happens? That's where it's kind of gets squirrely, kind of gets tough. So yeah, that's what I think about that. Rob, thanks, Matt. You're welcome, Rob. Got to go dig in the yard. Go dig in the yard, Rob. Dividend Dave, sounds like you embrace the binder method too. Absolutely. Yeah. I've been kind of doing that binder method for probably 7 or 8 years or so. Just kind of got to the point where I realized that if they were a great tenant, I was like, yeah, sure, I want you to stay. And before that, I was just like, yeah, sure, I want you to stay. And sure, let's just keep the rent. And then it's like every year would make less and less and less margin. Didn't make any sense. So then just basically started putting out to them saying, hey, rents are up a little bit. However, there are years where year to year to year, there really wasn't any increase in rents. So when there's not any increase in rents, it's just like, hey, I just want to keep my existing tenant. Let's just hold on to them. So I say, hey, congratulations. I'm able to give you the same exact rent that you paid last year. And they're like, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I would love to re-sign. There you go. When rents move fast, then the binder method really works. So that option, Dion's done a phenomenal job. I'm never going to post anything like that probably on my website or on my channel because he did an amazing job. I just refer people to there. From my perspective, yeah, I do it all in text. I have this, but it's the same type of data. And for many people, they don't want to have that conversation confrontationally or in front of their landlord. So I like to have that conversation with my tenants just via text, make it a very much a non-event, if you will. And I know at that point, because it's been a year, I know if they're good, I know if they pay on time, I know if they're excuse makers, I know if they're dirty, I know if I get complaints, all of that sort of stuff. Because we self-manage and because we have kind of the same, we've trained the guys that we have in the field that we use, they're not employees, but the guys that we have in the field that we use, we tell them when they're in a unit fixing something, look around. These are the things we want you to observe. And they do that. So it's helpful. Robert Farinelli, nice to know the system that my competition, which you say was better, combi boiler or furnace, water heater from renter's perspective. I would say combi boiler would generally use less heat. Yeah, I think it absolutely uses less heat. Yeah, for sure. Because again, it kicks on demand only when it's needed. It doesn't have to be doing a bunch of like cycles and running outside of that. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the IBCs, would still use those. Robert Fernandez, am I overcompensating things and should stop? Overcomplicating? No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that you have to make the spreadsheet, the rent box spreadsheet, you have to make it work for you, right? These are ideas and concepts that I've made work for me. I share them. People can toss them. People can keep them. It makes no difference to me. I'm not getting paid for them. So use it or don't. I think the big thing with that spreadsheet is that helps me really understand if market rents are moving outside of my units, right? If they're moving outside of my units, that's what I can look at. Are other people getting more than me? There's 4 units that I'm tracking that are ridiculously overpriced, but guess what happens if those things rent? I'm going to call and I'm going to find out, hey, cool, that rented. Really? For how much? If it rented for that number, I'm going up. My unit's nicer. And I'm not one of you guys got to get honest with yourselves. You got to be honest with yourselves. If your unit is legitimately nicer, cool. If it's not, just be honest with yourselves. Don't set yourself up for a fail. So that's one of the things for me where I can genuinely be honest with myself and say, yeah, I mean, they've got a bigger yard, they've got better parking, they've got better location. Somebody's going to pay a premium for that. Be honest with yourself. I'm telling you, best thing that you can do, and you'll make far fewer mistakes. So yeah, I don't think you're overcomplicating. I think that you have a process, and process is good. Sometimes you'll find that overcomplicating things will cost you deals. That's the only thing that I would caution you on. The guys that have a 74-page spreadsheet versus me, I'm going to beat them every time because there's nothing that they're going to be able to come up with a score on later through that 74 pages that is going to come out far enough ahead because I'll break their numbers with my numbers, right? So I'll take my KISS method, keep it simple, stupid, straightforward, understanding, able to process, and I can make a quick decision on a deal. Sorry, I had to look at my phone. I'm still waiting for my broker to get back to me. LV, teach me. I heard that happened with HELOC last recession. It did. I actually had HELOCs get shut off. And then you go 100% utilization, then try and get a bank to call you back. Oh, your DTI is like 70%, or something crazy. Because that debt becomes massive. And then when they shut it off, it's much higher interest rate. It usually kicks to a higher interest rate too. So yeah, just something to watch. I'm almost caught up. God bless. I love it. For the parking part of rent box, I am saying 2 off street per unit. Yes. Less than 2 per unit, limited, and none is none. Yeah. So that's exactly how I do it, which is if it's a 4-bedroom house that's in a roommate type of scenario, then you really need 4 spaces. If it's really a family type of scenario, then you really only need 2 spaces. So that's the evaluation that I make. That's the evaluation I make in the process. So that's great. That's exactly right. You're adjusting perfectly. William Batista. Hey, William, would a HELOC in a first position lien be different regarding the bank calling the HELOC? When they call, so they don't call the HELOC, they shut it off. So they don't call the loan, they shut it off. So you can't borrow anymore against it. That's what I mean by shut it off, is they don't call the loan where they say now it's due. They call the loan, they shut it off, meaning you can't pull anything more from it. Because it gets shut off, it shows as whatever your balance is what the maximum is for the HELOC. That's what they do. That's what goes away. So that's what you have to watch out for, is the hit that you have on the on your DTI, debt to income. Jenny Medina. In Illinois, we use a small local bank and our attorney sits on the committee board. It's very beneficial. Yeah. So there's no favoritism there, but here's what there is. Informed. They're informed. So you want what's called, so in sales, so I've taught sales for 20 something years. And I've been in sales for 20 something years. The thing that they call that is developing a champion. A champion is somebody that basically in your absence will carry your message forward. What you've developed is a champion. It's beneficial because they know your business, they know you as people, they know how you operate, so they can give flavor and color to the words on a spreadsheet, the words in a file. And that often can be a tiebreaker of this isn't a lend that we should extend, or this isn't a lend that we should extend. That's how the big boys do it. They just do it with much bigger banks. So from my perspective, I'm actually, I was just named something called a corporator at one of my banks, which means that I go to this annual event and they share inner workings of the business, generally speaking, nothing crazy. But it's an honor to be that because they're a great bank. They've done a great job taking care of me, and I want to be an ambassador for them and help them get customers because I know what their customers' experience is going to be like. If it's anything like mine, you're never going to have another bank. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. Robert Farinelli, and the hardest part finding a rental in South Manchester that is not a huge complex. How do you figure this out when my comps are in West Manchester or near downtown? How do you do this in the rent box? So good question. The rent box that I did is because I enter everything in, but then I can sort. If you saw the numbers like town 1, 2, and 3, you can then sort those. And so you can attribute that number to an area of a bigger city like Manchester or to a town like I have. So 1, 2, and 3 are the 3 different cities that I invest in. Because those are the 3 different cities that I invest in, I have designations of 1, 2, and 3. I can then go sort that sheet. And when I sort that sheet, I see all my 1s stacked, all my 2s stacked, all my 3s stacked. So that's why putting it in a spreadsheet is very powerful, is because you can literally tweak it with one setting and you can see everything blocked together in this particular. That's why I don't put the names in there. I know the names. Of course, you can still sort of that. It's just alphabetically, but that's why I use the number designation. It gives me the ability to see that stuff really quickly. Panda Punch, is there a place I can reach out to you with additional questions? lumberjacklandlord@gmail.com. lumberjacklandlord@gmail.com. Oh, yeah. Golly. Not my broker. Yeah, lumberjacklandlord@gmail.com. T-stamps. What would be a good and bad reason to buy your first owner occupied property? I feel stuck living with parents and want to buy fast, but Sacramento market is expensive even with my 60K income. Yeah, sure. I get that, Troy, for sure. Patience. Dion talked about this on his live stream. We've talked about this off camera. Patience is the biggest thing right now. You only need to buy one deal. You only need one. Make it a great one. Don't make it a good one. Make it a great one, like a great one. Yeah, make it a great one. So I get it. Living with parents, not having that freedom there, get it, 100%. But sometimes life happens. Here's what you don't want to have happen. Buy a good deal when a great one's coming. The market's shifting. It will get better. Just keep on doing your daily discipline. Keep on watching as often as you can. There's nothing that would per se stop me. I am a contrarian. I bought in 09, 10, 11, 12. I bought properties then. The deals that I was getting on those properties, almost every single one of those properties has either doubled or tripled in those 10 or 12 years. Every single one. I bought one for 55 grand and I put 30 into it for 85. I sold it. I rented it out. I sold it a few years later. I think I sold it for 165. It's worth 300 now. 300 now. I should have kept it and kept on renting it. That was my bad. But the money that I got from that deal, I put into another deal that actually made me a ton more money. So that's the only reason I don't regret selling that deal, is because it's always rolling into another deal, a deal that's highest and best use of capital. If Mike had stayed in the 8 single family homes that he started with, he'd still be working. Because he rolled them at the right time in the market, he rolled them into a much better investment that gave him much, much higher returns. And then he was able to go back and pick them off. So I would tell you, Troy, stay vigilant, keep doing the work. Don't get frustrated. It's a long process. You only have to buy one great deal. And any morning that could happen. Any morning. I was not expecting this morning that when I woke up and I looked at my feed, that there was going to be a great house for me to buy, but there is. I'll see you tomorrow and try and put a deal together. You never know what's going to come. And you can try and make your deal happen. But right now, there's too many people that are still thinking that the sky's the limit, ask anything you want. But another thing that's an investment in yourself is stuff like PropStream. It's $100 a month. I'm not pushing hard to find deals right now. However, if I was, and I was really trying to grow, a product like a PropStream would absolutely help. And I would be spending, time, hours a week, I would be spending trying to put together messaging and get things sent out and writing my handwritten letters and doing all that work to try and create my next opportunity. Yeah, it really does come down to the hustle. So if you want to do it via MLS, you can. The only way to expedite that path is by going out there and trying to create sellers, as opposed to waiting for people that have already decided that they're sellers. Hopefully that makes sense. Gloria Perez, you retracted your message, but it's okay. It won't keep me up at night. Might keep Dion up at night. Pavel Wisniewski. Hi, everybody. Hey, Pavel. Good to see you. Legacy 2, or Legacy Up. 2-year renter just moved out. Okay. Dishwasher was caked with soap, of course. The screen and filter were 1/4 inch thick. Yep. I got water out and dried and toothbrush, shop vac, and dust, then half cup of CLR. Yeah, absolutely 1000%. 1000% you can clean a dishwasher. Yep, 100%. But good tip. Yeah, we have all that stuff. So we used to do all that cleaning ourselves. Now we don't. We have a crew. We have a contracted price. And because it gets charged back to the tenant, because we had them clean it before people moved in. When they moved out, guess what? It has to be that same standard. I always tell people, we want to give you back as much. We actually send them a letter a month before, 2 weeks before, and like 5 days before they move out. We want to give you back as much of your deposit as possible. Here are the things that you need to make sure that you do. If you don't do them, we will have cleaners that will take care of them, and then that will be deducted from your deposit. I give them every chance to. So I've had cleaners that walked into one unit, identical to the unit next to it, walked into one unit and they spent 8 hours there. They walked into the next unit and spent an hour and a half there. Those other people, they're going to get a bill for like a couple $100 for a team of cleaners. The other guys, I think the bill was like $800 or something like that. It was a lot, but it was a team of cleaners. So that's what we try and do. Pavel Wisniewski, trying to decide to convert one bed to two beds. We'll need to get rid of a small dining room, easy conversion, 150 more per month, but no room to eat anymore except living room. Any thoughts? I've done those before. It really depends on who you're trying to rent to. If you're trying to rent to a family, that's a tough, that can be tough. It's almost better if you can kind of create some sort of a nook, and you can look at like small homes and things like that, have like a hideaway table, that's one way to do it. But yeah, if you're one or two bed, you're probably family with one kid or not a family, just roommates. Bedrooms is where you make the dough. And so I get it, but it really depends on the area. Lots to consider there, but so far I've not lost by reducing the eat-in area. You do have to have some place. So I would like create a bar on the kitchen, or like I said, like a foldable nook, table that you can, get down where you can put, basically when you put it down, you can put a chair on each side. Those are the types of things, or even like a longer piece that might be like 6 feet long that allows you to do chair at the end. Just something to consider. So those are the types of things I would look at. Pavel Wisniewski, Jenny Medina. Could you recommend a bank in Illinois? I have 2 properties that I might want to refinance over there. Cool. Yeah. You guys should connect. RW2, drive for dollars, learn to wholesale, then buy rentals. That works for some people. Most of the wholesale deals that I see are garbage. And quite frankly, they're even too high priced to go to market. In this particular market, I'm going to watch a lot of wholesalers go out of business, because people will do sub 2 on their deals as that becomes an even bigger thing and more of a trend. And I think people are going to want to still push something to market, recognizing the returns that they likely can get. So that's typically what I see. Wholesaling, most people doing wholesaling make even less than real estate agents. So if it's something you're passionate about and want to get really good at, you can potentially do it. I don't know. Yeah, most wholesalers fail. Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of real estate agents fail too. I mean, 80, it's between 80 and 85% of agents fail. But yeah, it really just, it depends. It depends on kind of your personality type, what you want to do. For me, wholesaling, don't love it. Don't love it. And like I said, most of the wholesalers that are bringing deals now, they're junk. They're pretty bad deals. They're not big money makers. Most landlords don't fail. That's incorrect. No. I failed. Failed at something, sure. Failed overall, of course not. Fail at a step, yeah, but fail overall, no. And so a wholesaler, if you don't know what you're doing and you have to back out of some of those deals, then you're going to get that reputation. So you really kind of need to know what you're doing. Yeah, our W2 is a troll that I have smack talked because he's a clueless idiot. So yeah, he's just basically he's a clown. So yeah, he's a clown. Because I've talked to him a number of times. He's a smack talker. Not successful, doesn't really do anything, but likes to smack talk everybody else doing something. Decided he'd show up here. And I thought he showed up to learn. I thought he finally came around, but I guess not. Johnny Cashflow Ramirez. I love the marketing aspect of finding sellers. I'm still learning and growing that. Market aspect of finding sellers. Yeah, absolutely, man. So the people that can create sellers, right? That's a skill. And that's a really important skill. And that's one that I'm not a pressure guy. I'm just here's the data, you decide. I mean, this is what I think I can do for you. This is why I think it's a fit. And that actually works out kind of nicely. So yeah, that is a skill that is worth its weight in gold. Legacy Op, thanks for your response. You're welcome. Andrew P. T stamps. I'll trade you Sacramento for Oakland and I'll throw in Park Place. Good deal. Perspective. Yeah. Yeah. There's markets that are crazy all over the place. And we're going to see correction for sure. I mean, I've called correction. I think it starts happening next year. And I think our overall dip is going to be probably 15 to 20 points from the high. It's not going to happen in 1 year because real estate moves slowly, but I believe we're going to be 15 to 20 points off the number. And do I think it's going to be as elongated? I don't. I think it's going to be more condensed because of what the Fed's doing, and because of other external pressures. But that's what I think right now. But that could always change because you never know what's going to happen in the world. It's just impossible to guess. Let's see. Johnny Cashflow Ramirez. Most wholesalers are not good at what they do. True. So I think that most real estate agents are good at what they do. Just in all, just brutal honesty, I think that there's a lot of mortgage brokers that aren't good at what they do. But I've always tracked after the guys that are elite. Like I want the guys that win the President's Club trophies or Rep of the Year, or things like that, because even if they got there and even though they were the best that year, that means that they usually hover around the top. And because of that, they clearly know how to get deals done. And that's really what you need. Yeah, good. Matthew Paris. I have a list like this as well with pricing for each item. One time I've received a property back 100% rent ready. Exactly, right? And here's the crazy thing. Matthew Paris, would we prefer that? Yeah, we would prefer that, right? We would prefer to get it back 100% rent ready. I don't want the bullshit. I don't want the time. I don't want the effort. I don't want I don't charge for coordination of resources. So that's time and money that I'm out. I want that unit back. Beautiful. Give it back to me. Beautiful. I'd love to give you your entire deposit back. I would love that. That'd be awesome. So yeah, it's a major misnomer that landlords like to keep your deposit. There are slumlords that like to make every reason in the book to keep your deposit. Largely speaking, more than happy to give you back your full deposit. Just return it to me rent ready and we're good. Give it to me like the old adage that our parents tell us, right? Treat it like you own it. What's the other adage? Return it better than the way you got it. Like, give me that. Return it better than the way you got it. That's awesome. Jenny and Pavel swapping stuff out. Matt Bittner, I can't wait to see wholesalers go out of business. Yeah, I think that they're a part of the market. I think that they're an important part of the market, but the good ones are. The bad ones, just like the bad real estate agents, people have those bad experiences with those guys, and then they think that that's the way the industry is. It really isn't. It really isn't. You know, they had a bad experience because they got stuck with some moron like RW2. Like that guy's just such a huge, colossal tool bag. Like I've argued with him on the channel and it's just like, it's literally like shouting into a pillow. You know, he thinks wholesaling is the only way to go. I don't. And a lot of people will fail at wholesaling. And for him saying that a lot of landlords fail, he's factually incorrect. He just is. He just is. But anywho, that's why he got blocked. Matthew Paris, not like I'm asking to move the moon and stars either. Just wipe the windows and clean the stove. And for love of all things, holy, don't leave last year's ketchup spill stuck to the fridge. Exactly. 100%. 100%. And again, you know, we've had cleaners go in and just kind of do a general clean, like even if it's just a hot rag on baseboards just to wipe the dust off. They can send in 2 or 3 people. They might be there for an hour, but that means that I have to send a very small bill. Or they might be there for 8 hours. That 8 hours, now those guys had lived there for 5 years. They didn't do a heavy cleaning before they left. They didn't, but that's okay. But that's okay. I'll take care of it. Stuck on the fridge door. Yeah, no kidding. Kenzie, nice haircut. Hey, Kenzie, thanks. I did it myself. It's tough. Matt Bittner, Ukrainian real estate might be cheap right now. So I'm Ukrainian, so horrible joke. But yeah, I mean, yeah, potentially. I think that with how the country's run, it's going to be interesting to see how they repair it and what the conclusion is and how that all works out. We'll say a little too risky for my profile. And since I'm such a hands-on guy, we're going to have to pass. But yeah, wish them all best thoughts and prayers. Yeah, so that's that. Johnny Cash Ramirez, anyone in the Abilene, Texas market, let's connect. Yeah, exactly. Johnny Cash will love that. I like it when people connect. Abilene, very cool. Matthew Paris, 100%. I'm not in business to win your deposit. It actually costs me money. Dude, totally get it. I want to give it all back. So I had a tenant that was on me about getting their deposit back. And I was like, I have to finish the unit. She's like, well, we cleaned it. We cleaned it really well. And I said, I can appreciate that you feel that way, but the cat urine coming from 2 rooms is abhorrent and it needs to be handled. Well, there's nothing I can do about that. Right. So I have to, because you can't do something about the cat urine stained carpets. Doesn't mean that I can get away with just going to my new tenant. I mean, what do you want me to do? Let's fix it. So I went through, they were hammering me on their $1,100 deposit, which was a joke for that unit. But they had $1,100 deposit. They were hammering me. I sent them a letter and finally I sent it back out. I sent it once. She gave me the wrong address, then accused me of not sending it. I'm like, that's not the address. And so I said to her, I said, then give me another address. She goes, this is the address I gave you. I said, no, it's not. Look in the chat. You didn't give me that address. Do a search in your chat. It's not there. Well, that's the one I meant to give you. Oh, okay. It's not my fault. So then when she gave me the address, I got it right back. I got it right out to her. And I basically said, you had an $1,100 deposit. There was $2,800 worth of work that had to go into your unit because we had to replace those 2 carpets. Those 2 carpets are 5 to 7 years old. I can't charge her for putting in new LVP. So I just said, I thought what was fair was I took on a majority of that cost. And I just said, if you don't challenge this in court, I will take on the rest of the debt. If you do challenge this in court, I'm going after that plus, because that was the minimum of what we spent. I haven't heard from her since. So if she wants to go to court, we'll go to court. If she doesn't, then that's okay too. I'd prefer not to go to court, but I treated her really right. I could have gone after her for more than the 1,100. I could have made her or gone through the process to get her to write me a $600, $700, $800 check. It's not worth my time. It's not worth my time. And as a landlord, as a young landlord, that was the stuff that I didn't understand, because I had the justice attitude, and I still have a justice attitude. However, I also have a value of my time attitude. And for $600, like getting blood from a stone, what's the likelihood that that's going to happen? Slim to none. Why? Just like, why? Forget it. I'll take the lump. You know what? At the end of the day, it was an $1,100 a month unit. It now rents for, hold on to your hats, kids, $2,500 a month. $2,500 a month. That's why I wanted to get that other tenant in there as soon as I possibly could. I'm making $1,400 a month more. Now, some of the utilities are included at that number. So let's get nuts and call that 400. Still making $1,000 more a month on that unit. So it's less than a month. Justice, yes, but time, and I'm not at a real huge loss. I made so much more money with her leaving, well worth it. Matthew Paris, return it better than the way you found it. Exactly. T-Stamps, Andrew P. I'm from Oakland and I can hear your pain. Oh yeah, you're right. Perspective. So true, guys. So true. That's why we do these things. We want people sharing with each other, not jackasses like RW2 as an example, but we want people sharing with each other, sharing common struggles, sharing common wins. This is what it's about, guys. It's about community. It's about sharing what our experiences are so we can help everybody get better. Thankfully, none of you are in my market. I don't know how much I would do this if you guys were. Let's put it this way. I don't teach this at a local meetup. That's for sure. We'd like to have you speak, Matt. No, thank you. I'm good. I'm good. Oh, broker. Yeah, like here's like a loser wholesaler. I've told them 100 times, I'm not a seller, I'm a buyer. Still sells, still sends me stuff. I want to buy, I want to buy, I want to buy. I tell them every single time. Just honest to God. I said, I'm still buying, adding to my 100 units. Bring me a deal for a change. We'll see if I can answer. Legacy up. My new renters will find furnace filters, rinse aid for dishwasher, cleaner for the shower, and Lysol wipes. Let's get going on a great start. Right. It's true. So this is something, if you guys still collect checks, right? So if you don't do anything to the bank, one of the things that we do for our tenants when we ask them, how are you going to pay? I just heard toys crash. One of the things that we do if we find out that they're going to pay in a check, what we do is we actually give them a year's worth of self-addressed stamped envelopes with the stamp on it. That's what we do because it drastically reduces the excuse. I didn't have an envelope, didn't have a stamp, couldn't mail it. If you have a mailbox on your house, put it in there, put the flag up. Literally that simple. You go and get your mail every day. Flag up, put it in there, get it out, get it done. So that's something that helps you. So yeah, that's what we do. We actually give them that stack. LV teach me. Woo, making more money with new tenants. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that was a takeover unit. That was a unit that I inherited the tenant. The tenant was quite frankly a pain in the ass. This light bulb's out. Really like fix, help thyself, do a light bulb. Not that hard. So they just found to be a pain in the ass. RW2, not a big deal. Someone asks you if you want to sell, he's doing the work. Don't disagree. But when I've told you the opposite, which is I'm not a seller, I'm not going to be a seller. I've told the wholesaler, not a seller, not going to be a seller. Here's what I'm interested in buying. Bring me that deal. And then you still persist in asking me if I'm a seller. You're an idiot. Learn to listen. That's the first rule of sales. Learn to listen. And he's not selling. Telling ain't selling. Just that simple. Robert Farinelli, I am going to make Matt yell at me. Okay. I'm currently stripping. Are you seriously stripping paint off a door? Yes, RW2. You're a moron. I have done plenty of blasts in the past, but then I exclude them from the list. That's actually how the service works. Dear God, this guy, honest to goodness. Push God, this guy just doesn't get it. Stripping paint from a door because I am too broke to buy a new one. I really want to save my nice old solid hardwood door. I understand those. The nice old ones, I get it, because putting in a new split jam door, repainting it, remounting it, that's going to cost you probably $500. So I totally get it. I do get that. One of the things that I can tell you, Robert, is that there are companies out there. There's actually a really good one about an hour and a half away in Vermont that actually does dips. They'll actually take the door and they'll dip it and they'll basically hand it to you bare, sanded and bare. And I want to say they charge like $85. And depends on what your value of time is. I get doing, dude, I did a ton of stuff that was less expensive than $85 when I was broke as a joke. I get it. but that's another option. Look them up on the internet. You can buy the dips. You can buy that, or you can get that service done by a company that does the dip where they take it through and they basically chemical process, strip it all down. And then they return you a bare door that you can then paint or do whatever you want with. And then it's still the original door. So it's awesome from that perspective. Let's see. Patient zero, where are most of your properties located? All of my properties are located in New Hampshire. All of them without exception. Chester Williams, I'm going to borrow the idea about adding neighborhood class A, B, C and parking garage, carport, street to my sheet. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, dude, go for it. We're all here to make each other better. Robert Farinelli, I should know better not to strip paint off old doors. Yeah, dude, that's a horrible job. That's the worst. Yeah, Andrew P, come on over, bro. Come on over. I love that idea. That's awesome. In the beginning, it'll be rough, but then eventually you'll win some. Because I won't overpay. I literally had some guy peacocking because he beat me in a deal. He overpaid by like 40 grand. I was like, yeah, you got me. You crushed it. You got me. You got me. P.S. I don't know what you're getting your money at, but last time I checked, that doesn't cash flow. He's like, it cash flows if you buy it cash. Oh, that's hard. I was like, when you want to pull your cash out and you want to refi, it's not going to cash flow. Congratulations. Oh my goodness. I love it. See, Andrew P, I love that. That's awesome. I would love it. Chester Williams, Matt, must have missed your response to my first comment I had regarding prop stream. Oh, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. My bad. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys. Chester, ask again, my man. There's only a few questions before you, so ask again. Sorry, I missed you. Johnny Cash Ramirez, I had all the doors repainted at one unit. The time it took for these guys to do it, it would have been cheaper to replace the new door. Just one of my experiences. Yeah, so I think that a lot of times ends up being true. I do. It's just really hard. So in like a 160-year-old house here, that's really difficult to do because wall thickness, style of door, I want it to match everything else. In newer construction, i.e. like there's still houses here that have the original doors. And so the only option, like what Robert's talking about, is to strip it. That's the only option that you have, is to strip it to then, strip it to then paint it. That's really your only option. True, that happens for sure. That happens for sure. Antoine, hey, Antoine, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Do you install baseboard trim on your stairs? I have a duplex. I'm wondering if I should install that. Baseboard trim on my stairs. Do you mean up the side? Tell me, also, do you have a problem with using MDF boards in bathrooms? I do. So my carpenters are telling me to use wood. Thoughts? I wouldn't even use wood. I would use the PVC board. That's what I would use, in all honesty. If you're going to have a square board in your bathroom, or just know that you're going to replace that, more often. Lost my place. Antoine Davis, do you install baseboard trimming on your stairs? Sometimes. I have a duplex and wondering if I should install it. It depends on where it is on the stairs. If it's like up that side, yeah, I've framed stairs before for sure. Yep, absolutely. Yep, the sides. Yeah, so I've done it. You can do it. It's a big project, my man. It's a big project. It'll take you a lot of time. It takes a woodworker a lot of time. Yeah. Yeah. Like your option is like, you can notch the stair and like get it in there, or you have to like shape around the stair. If you have to shape the piece around the stair, that can be a nightmare. The fastest way to do it is to notch the stair and slide the piece in and then just do a caulking job all the way up and down the stairs. That's your best. That's the cheapest way to do it. Man, lots of questions right there. Got good. Robert Farinelli, I'm being very, very careful. I know for a fact that 3 out of the 4 layers is not lead because I found the paints the last year is bugging me though. Yeah, I get it for sure. Yeah, the dips, like I said, for me, for the 85 bucks, I'll do the dip. I don't want to spend 400 or 500 to replace a solid core door that then won't match the rest of the house. That I agree with, but I'd probably pay to dip it. Great idea on door dipping. I started Landmark Reno in Chicago and might research that. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, Pavel, I'm telling you, dude, there's old construction that might be lead paint. These guys do it. They'll take the door. Now you got to remove all the hardware. What you want to do though, before you hand it off to them, you want to get a stamp kit. Man, this is good. You want to get a stamp kit. Take it, nail it in. And what I do is I do floor and then room. And so whatever code you have, or you can just do a number on it. And then that number, have a spreadsheet that says this door, this number belongs to this opening. That is critically important because you're going to want to save the hardware associated with that specific door in a bag numbered that way. Then you send them off to get dipped. You'll have, it'll be an awesome experience for you. It'll save you a fortune if you want to use the real original doors. Like I look at doors for most places, you know, probably right now with what those doors cost, it's probably $400 to $500 for install. If I can go through that process, it's maybe a day's worth of work for somebody at 20 or 25 bucks an hour to pull all that stuff off and then send all of them off to get dipped and then bring them all back and then have them all sprayed, you know, with paint, with new paint and a nice, just a you know, something that really makes them pop as, you know, being white with some, you know, color on the walls. It's worth its weight in gold. But yeah, you'll find people. Chicago might be tough in that area, but you might find some people in Indiana that do that stuff. You might find them in Chicago, but usually it's Indiana because it's an older practice for sure. Let's see. I just lost the chat. Let me go back up again. Gloria Pears, do you rather buy condos, townhouses, or single family homes? None. I don't buy condos, I don't buy townhouses, and I don't buy single family homes. I buy small multifamilies, 2s, 3s, and 4s. And then commercial stuff, not commercial, but commercial based on size. So in my entire portfolio of 39 buildings, I have 2 single family homes, 2. All of the rest, with the exception of 4, so 2 are single families, 4 of them are 5 units and bigger, and then everything else is 2 to 4. That's my portfolio. Drew, I've been beat out twice on 2 good deals in the last month, but at least I found 2. Drew, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. You're doing the work. Sure, you got beat on those 2. Keep on looking. You're going to get yours. I'm telling you, you're going to get yours, my man. Keep on doing it. That's great. That's great that you're seeing movement where you found a couple good deals. The next ones, you'll see. I love it. Antoine Davis, also, do you have a problem with using the MDF boards in the bathrooms? Some of my carpenters thought telling me to use wood. Yeah, so for me, I use, I'll use a board, but what's really interesting is I'll actually cut another board that fits that exact size. That way, if that board starts to get rotted out, waterlogged, looks like crap, can't fix it, I'll have a spare. So for bathrooms, I'll use that on my 7 1/4, on the 7 1/4 wood stuff. And I'll just keep that downstairs on a shelf with a couple pieces of baseboard that are extra that fit those spots, which at the end of the day costs you almost nothing to have done. Like it costs you an extra $20 to have them sitting there, instead of it being a big project. And then the other thing I do is I always leave left another box of flooring there. And I always leave an extra box of tile there. If there's tile there, that's what we do for sure. Ninja Vanish 24/7. Do you use glue down LVP or floating? So it's the same product, but we don't glue it. That's it. Drew A. Realtor tried to tell me to offer over asking. I swear I want to tell her to kick rocks. She has zero market awareness. Drew A. Bro, that's exactly right. It's exactly right. Yeah, kick rocks. Why? Because she wants a commission? No, no, nope, nope. Sorry. You're exactly right. They don't know nearly as much about the market as you do. Robert Farinelli at Cashflow Ramirez. These are very old 1940s hardwood doors. Yeah, they're expensive. Yeah, to replace. So they're probably not $2,500 to replace, but unless they're like antique French doors, because we have a lot of salvage yards here too, where you can pick stuff up like that. I actually have 60 or 70 doors that I store that are in decent shape that we keep just in case we run into another house with that. And where we need to swap out a door. So we keep those. Yeah, 2 panel doors with nice accents on the panels. Yeah, get those dipped. Yep. We are talking project management convo, not making money. What, Matt, do you self-manage? Yes, I do self-manage. Yep. Yep, I do self-manage. All 117 units. Robert Farinelli, these doors are going to look beautiful when with the Marblehead trim. Oh yeah, dude, they'll look killer. They'll look absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Yep. The work that you're putting in, well worth it because you'll never have to do it again. The only downside is I get it. I wouldn't be I'm never in a rush to swap out original doors. Only the ones that have like 50 coats of paint on them. And in that particular case, that's where we've decided we're going to just get these dipped. But the challenge that you have is that means you're keeping the rest of it. And if there's 80 coats of paint on the door, there's usually 80 coats of paint on the trim. That's the point where we say, you know what? Now's the right, we got to pull this stuff. So that's the time where when it's been painted 1,000 times and horribly, that's where we make the decision. Okay, we're just going to demo all this stuff and take it and get it all gotten rid of. Not my broker. I do self-manage. Yep. This is property management condo. Yeah. You outsource all this to a property management company? Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, Mike does that too. Mike sends that out. I mean, he spends well into the 6 figures a year paying for that. I just choose to do that myself and save myself the money. And because I'm so close, I know the quality of work. And I can, those same guys that do that can also do maintenance for me. So yeah, I've got a model that works great, that makes me a ton of cash. Like I said, my properties on the low side make 20%. My properties on the high side make 40 and 50%. So yeah, I think, there's a point to be made for people that self-manage as well as people that decide that they want to, send it off to property managers for sure. Andrew P. LOL burn. I don't know what the burn is. Oh wait, I'll read down below. I outsource all this to property management company. Sure. Yep. John Doe. Hey Matt, I think your pump and its family have been making money in Ukraine hand over fist for quite a long time. Not that I know of. Most of them came over here. There's like some distant like cousins and stuff, but most of them came over here. RW2, Matt, do you manage properties for other owners? I don't yet. We have the framework where we get asked pretty often, but not something that we're interested in taking on yet. Because basically it's another job. So what we do, being as large as we are big enough where we can have all those things in place. And so then having all the processes and systems and things like that in place, and what other landlords see, they would like to pay the fee and have us do it. We're just not there yet. I'm considering it. We'll probably do a property management firm someday, but just not today. In memory of my buddy. Andrew P. Matt, may I send you a building I'm looking at to get your perspective from a house house hack angle, I think is what you mean. It's 100 years old, not super confident with it being the first deal. House hack. Yeah, sure. Yeah, shoot me a link. I'll take a look. As soon as I have time, I'll take a look. People should not self-manage with no construction knowledge. Not true. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I mean, especially with YouTube out there, I think that there's a lot of opportunity. For me, I was able to learn a lot of that stuff. I didn't have any construction experience when I got into it. And so I think that there's a lot of opportunity to learn it. I think the other piece too is you can always hire for it. That's what Dion does. Dion doesn't do any self-management or construction himself, or he does the self-management, doesn't do any construction himself. Mike doesn't do any of that stuff himself, period. He basically just gets a call or an email from a property manager and says, hey, what should we do here? And then he makes a decision it's a cost-based decision. So I don't think landlords should not self-manage at all, or in the beginning or anything like that. I think that's part of learning the business. And I think that that's how you start to create relationship with other people that might need to maintain your property. And quite frankly, keep your costs a lot lower. My returns are as big as they are because I manage it myself. But the time that I get for that return is huge. And managing 117 units really isn't a whole lot different than managing 60, except I get paid a whole lot more. So yeah, for me, I don't mind it. Don't mind it at all. Property management business equals construction and legal business. No, not true. There are things like that occur, but just like anything, like with your logic, I wouldn't own a car because that means being in the mechanic business. Does that make much sense? You don't only own a car that you can fix. So it's just a matter of being able to pull in experts that know what they're doing, that can help you out in that regard. And so for me, it's, that property manager is usually saving the phone call. Well, I can take the phone call. I want to learn. I want to understand it. So I think that everybody drives a car, not very hard. So yeah, that's my take on that. I don't think that that's a correct statement. Robert Fanley, $2,500 for 5 doors. Yep. So 500 door, possibly more. I don't know how much getting the standard 2-panel door with 3 layers of detailed accents on the panels is. Yeah, dude, that's expensive. It's expensive. You're doing the right thing stripping it. If you're not, so the right decision there is either strip it. If you're keeping all the other trim work, it's either strip it or have it stripped. It's not replace. I agree with you. Yes. RW2. Yeah, I kind of knew it. Don't know what you knew. You're going to move into that. Makes sense. Maybe. I mean, it really just depends. If we continue to grow the business and have the bigger infrastructure, then it might make sense to do it. I'm good at starting businesses and running them and making them really successful and millions of dollars. So yeah, if I see that opportunity, that's something I want to do. Maybe. I'm still young. I'm 44, and I want my kids to be around it. So we'll see. We'll see. It may make sense. It may not. I mean, we're pretty big by ourselves, 117 units. That will continue to grow. I expect there to be significant opportunities in the next few years. So yeah, I mean, if we get to 200, does it make sense to, take on some other guys at 25 and 50 units? Yeah, maybe. Yep. To be determined. Robert Farinelli, I'm putting Marblehead trim in by your recommendation. Old trim is the old flat wood stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yep. Know it well. And again, sometimes it's in great shape, but sometimes it's in horrible shape and has, 60 coats of paint on it, 80 coats of paint on it. I've seen both. RW2, my property manager has 150 of his own units and now manages over 900 of them. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would never pick a property manager that doesn't have properties of his own. He has really, your best property managers are the ones that own property themselves. They're not real estate agents. They're not business owners where they don't own anything themselves. Because they know then what an emergency is. They know what the thing is that you have to get done for sure. Robert Farinelli, I will see about getting the other 3 dipped. Might be other if I had spent most of the spent almost that much time on materials at Home Depot. Yeah, I would look at them. They're in Vermont. Just look at like door dipping or door stripping, because even if they're not lead, they treat them like they have lead. So that's why they dip them and don't sand them. Matt Bittner, have you seen the HGTV South Park episode? I haven't. I don't watch South Park. Sad but true. RW2, a landlord isn't a property management business. I mean, you kind of are. You kind of are. They're calling you with that problem. So if it's a toilet, if it's a shower, if it's a whatever, but a lot of that stuff, they don't know how to fix and you can fix. Evictions. Yeah, like I can do evictions. They're not that difficult in my state. Some cases where it's like a sticky situation, I'll bring on my attorney. I have 3 of them. And so I bring on my attorney if the eviction process looks like it's going to be sticky. And where it looks fairly straightforward, I just file the paperwork myself. That's true. That's why you lease. I don't know what that means. Dion talk financial freedom. Every time you smash the like button, an angel gets its wings. That's true. Thank you, Dion. RW2, you have a lot more liability legally having no property management business. Still not true. That's not true. You only have all of that liability if you don't know how to structure your business or if you're a bad landlord and don't fix safety issues. That's it. So if you're a bad landlord and you're not good at taking care of safety issues quickly, I would recommend, yeah, you get a property manager. But for us, we actually, in most cases, like I'd say probably 95% of the time, we're going to respond faster than a property management company because it's our opportunity. But yeah, liability, like that's what I have insurance for. That's what I have an umbrella policy for. Like that's what that's in place for. Pavel Wisniewski, I want to open property management company. Where do I find clients and landlords? Meetups. Yeah. Real estate meetups. Other landlords posting rental units on like Craigslist or Zillow or Facebook. You can reach out to them. Their contact information is right there. Sometimes they have an agent, sometimes they don't. If they don't, like they're self-posting, that's a great fit. So yeah, you can reach out to reach out to them that way and just say, hey, I'm not an interested renter, but we have this service and this is what we do. The thing that you have to really have kind of down pat is would like to just take 10 minutes of your time and talk to you about what our offering is. That's how I would do it. Fair, RW2, fair housing laws, etc. Do these people know those? I don't know. I know them. And landlords can read on them. It's fairly simple. John Doe, just finished a tile over tile shower with Mapai EcoPrem Grip Primer and Aqua Defense waterproof membrane. Cost me $450 compared to $4,000. If the shower is structurally sound, there's no need to demo. Yeah, I agree with you. Yep, I agree with you. We haven't used those products, I don't think, before. I think we might have, maybe. I'm not sure if we used those products before, but we've certainly gone over what was there in the past, for sure. You know what, though? That one time that we did it, to me, wasn't worth doing, because for us to be able to rip out what was there, put in cement board, and then, tape the edges and then seal it, and then put new tile on top, that pre-phase to putting the tile on top really wasn't that bad for us. Like I can have a laborer do that and have all that stuff prepped for a couple $100. So for me, that's just what I would do. And then I would tile fresh on top of that. That's probably what I would do. But yeah, we've done that over before. I forget what scenario that was, but there was a scenario where we did that. I know that there was one where they had like that plastic. It was like plastic tiles. We popped all those off, but the underneath was beautiful. And so we were able to basically just use a product like that, where we were then able to attach the tile, and it's worked great. So we didn't have to rip all the board down, which was pretty good. Does anyone in this room know fair housing laws? Adrian Jeffrey, afternoon all. Hello, sir. Yeah, and this channel is all about handyman $25 an hour work. Oh, dear God, you pinhead. I'm going to have to permanently block this jackass. Anyway, see you later, RW2. We're here to share knowledge, not to smash other people's decisions. And at the end of the day, any day you want to go paycheck to paycheck or book to book, I'll go book to book with you, clown. Honest to God with these people. That guy's such a troll. Adrian Jeffrey, what age did you get your first unit? 23. Yeah, 23. I've been doing this for 22 years, so 23. 23? Yeah, 23. Yep. 22. 22 or 23. It was right in there. Right in there. Robert Farinelli, these doors had 5, and the last paint job was so awful it came off in 5 minutes with no effort. So worth in this case. Yeah, for sure. Andrew P., you're a legend. Many thanks. Can't wait to give you a non-consensual bear hug in Vegas one day. Thanks, Andrew. I don't know about legend. I mean, I do well at what I do, but that's why I share it. So I appreciate you saying. Jason C., are you okay, man? No, see, Jason C., that's the problem. He's not okay. He is a real problem. Yeah, Johnny Cashflow Ramirez, he's really sour. Yeah, like, yeah. I mean, I think honestly, at the end of the day, like he's been bitten by all those things because he's a garbage landlord. He had to hand it over to property management because he wasn't good at what he did. For me, let's talk about my numbers. 22 years, over 3,000 tenant years. Even through COVID, 9 evictions, 3,000 tenant years. Yep. Complaints with the city, 2. Both investigations closed because both tenants were late or hadn't paid rent and were using it as a ploy to not pay rent. The city saw that. So whatever, RW2, you're a clown. But anywho, we'll just keep on blocking. I keep on wanting to give him a chance. Maybe he'll learn something and not have to pay outrageous fees to his property managers that he thinks are doing a good job. But yeah, Johnny Cashflow, pathetic. Robert Farinelli, seems to be some furniture restoration place in Manchester. Don't really have the means to go to Vermont, so I'm trying to go local first. Yeah, try it. If you find something more local than Vermont, let me know, Robert. The only place that I could find that was willing to do them kind of in the bulk that I had, which was like 20, 30, 40 doors. Because we would do the whole house, is that Vermont place. So it's like a truck, it's a day, it's a thing. But it's worth doing when you're doing that much. But if you're doing like 4 or 5, yeah, I get driving to Vermont, kind of a pain. Totally get it. Keith Hager. You can be a realtor, landlord, property manager, and a flipper. Totally agree. You can be all of them. Yep. I don't know. RW said you couldn't. I mean, worst of all, he's a Baltimore fan. Like, shocker there. Robert Finale, I have a 2013 Nissan Versa. Yeah. Can't really move things, but great MPG. Yeah, so that's the truth. One of the things you can always consider, though, is a U-Haul van. The deals right now are pretty good. You can get them for like 19 bucks, then plus the mileage. So it might cost you like 150 bucks to transport them or 100 bucks to transport them. But again, if you only have 5 doors, I get it. It's more like if you had a ton of doors. Totally get you, my man. Mandy W, thank you for doing these. You're welcome, Mandy. I always learn a lot. How long did it take you to get to your first few units? Was it one time or all at once? So I bought my first one in like 2000, 2001, 2002. And then I bought another one in 2004. And then I bought 3 in 2005. That's kind of how I did it. Yep. That's how I did it. Yeah. And if you want more detail, I'm happy to give it. I just kind of gave you the abridged version. Matt Bittner, property management is good for cutting down on the people factor for landlords. Yeah, I think so. I mean, also if you're like at a distance, like that's your only choice. Again, for me, I just choose to self-manage. That's why my margins are massive. And I have, a couple guys that I keep pretty busy. Oh. So I have a couple guys that I keep pretty busy. And those couple guys that I keep pretty busy, like it works. We get a lot of stuff done. Johnny Cashflow Mirrors, $500 to close out of pocket. Oh, okay. Wow, not bad. That's pretty cheap. Matt Bittner, property management companies. Yes. Donnie Bear. Hey, Donnie, I don't think we met before. Good to see you. With the 50-40-10, will this work with MLS properties? So it'll work with MLS properties. The only thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is you want to make sure that the agents know that they're going to get paid. That's something you need to make sure. So Mike and I are designing that letter of what we would use just to make sure, hey, just so everyone knows, everyone's going to get paid. You're not going to lose any money with this transaction. You then have to take those numbers into account for the transaction. But it'll work with MLS properties. The main contributing factor, the 50-40-10 working, is time of ownership. But moreover, it's the amount of equity that they have sitting in the deal. Even to do the deal, they have to have at least 40% equity in the deal to do that deal, right? So that's just the one thing to watch out for. And usually that 40% equity comes from them being in the unit for some amount of time. Most people aren't buying something with 40% down. Most people are buying something with a normal percentage down, and you get to that 40% after owning it for a while. Hopefully that helps. Antoine Davis, have you used Thermoglass? If so, did you like the product? Thermoglass, I don't think so. I don't think so. I'd have to, I've never ordered it. In what application? I can ask one of my guys. Because I order pretty much everything, but if he like went to Home Depot or Lowe's or something and got a piece of Thermoglass, there's a possibility. What application are you talking about? Is my best question for you. Flash of light. Hey, Flash of light. Going back to the weeks and months before your HELOC was shut down, what would you have done differently to make sure you had enough cash to pay the contractors and other bills? So that was the issue. That was, I think, the issue. So I had credit available, but when the credit crisis, that's what they called it, all your credit disappeared. They basically took whatever your limit was, like if it was a $25,000 limit on a card. I had one card go from 25,000 to balance. 25,000 bucks down to $8,000. That's my new limit. So it's like, okay, now that renders the card unusable, but my DTI is horrible. And so that's what we saw. That's what we saw happen. So the only thing that I would probably do again or the only thing that we've done since then is any project that we have a contractor coming on site for, we have the cash to pay them. We have the funding on our own to pay them. So if something changed with a bank on a construction loan or something like that, I would still have the money to pay to finish. That idea will keep me smaller. But for those that had the PTSD of going through 08 or 7, 8, 9 or 8, 9, and 10 and 11, that's something that if I had it to do over again, except in that position, I mean, we were just stuck. We couldn't do anything about it. It was what it was. I probably would have, there's no other way I could have prepared for it other than because it was midway in the project. That was the pain part of it. So the only thing that I would do is not have a project started that I don't have the funds to finish myself. Or if I knew that it was going to get shut down, just again, hindsight being 2020, I wouldn't have rehabbed the unit. I would have just left the unit as is, gotten my lower rent, and just been like, way it goes. Because it was actually we were redoing a couple of units at the same time in the same building, and they were rentable, but they were rentable at like $950 or $1,000. When we finished them, they were $1,400. So that's what I would probably do. I'd probably just leave them there that way. Let's see. Matt Bittner. If you only watch one South Park episode, you should watch Apologies to Jesse Jackson. Okay. Oh, sweet Lord. Okay. RW2, good one about the Ravens. Yeah. Matt Bittner, have been to where your family is from Ukraine? No, I have not. They're from Odessa, which is on the sea. So I have not been there. That was actually one of those things where the goal was to always get there, but I wanted to do it after we started a family, had kids, because I wanted to take the kids to experience that. And so because I wanted to take the kids there to experience that, I had to wait till I had kids. Now I've got kids. Now I just want them to be older. I want them to be a little bit older so it can be as much of a, National Lampoon's European Vacation, as much of it as it can be. So we've got probably 10 years, I'd say 10 or 12 before I would take them for that trip. But yeah, we will definitely do that trip as a family. 1000%. I expect. Who knows what the world has for us, but probably. Most properties, Jackson. RW2, I agree. I do hire a property management company because I don't want to deal with the other stuff, but I also scale easier with that being in place versus me learning a totally different business and different city and county. Yeah, sure. So like I was saying, so I think property management makes sense when you're investing from a distance, because certainly you don't want to be traveling that distance. For me, my model was, if I invest locally, and I moved to this area, I moved about an hour and 15 minutes. I moved to this area. When I moved to this area, it was with the purpose of being local. That way I didn't have to choose property management. I could choose property management. So in my strategies, I'm always looking for multiple ways out. And this gives me multiple ways out. I can self-manage. If I ever get tired of it, I can hire people, but I can manage those people because, again, it's still local. And I can stop into a job and take a look and see the progress if I'm getting different reports from different people. So that's kind of the power of that for me. I can always take the easy way out, more expensive, but I can always take the easy way out and hand the portfolio over to a property manager. I can always do that. Mike is completely right in what he does. He's 2.5 hours away. It would make no sense for him to try and self-manage, especially at the volume that he's at. So 100% agree with you. It makes sense when you're further away. So yeah, don't disagree at all. Matt Bittner. Nope, already read that one. Robert Farinelli. How was self-managing now versus your first 10? I want to get somewhat big, maybe not 170, but I think I might do property management later too if too many units get overwhelming. I think so. The problem that I had with my first set of units was they weren't all rehabbed. One of the things that we had to do with pretty much everything we bought in the crash of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, the stuff that was, getting foreclosed on was trashed. And it wasn't newer properties like Stockton, California, where you'd walk in and there was spray paint or there was ripped up carpet or things like that. It was like trashed, copper stolen, things like that. So we just got very used to doing that and learning that part of the game. And so the first 8 were probably as much work as probably the next 30 or 40. Because in those, we would actually do a project. We'd go in, we'd do everything, the entire project. Then we knew everything was brand new. We would literally never hear from those tenants, because we usually hear from those tenants in the first 30 days because everything was kind of settling. And if you found any problems in the work that was done, that's when you found it. But then after that, it's been kind of, those are the property units now where we have single digit calls in a year on the ones that we completely gutted and redid. Single digit, it's almost none. RW2, county zoning. Yep, I look at property management company as a business partner, not an expense. Sure, I mean, a business partner that you pay an ass load of money to. I mean, that's a fact. Like, you can look at it however you want. You can look at them as a business partner, but they're not. You're paying them a fortune to do a task for you. And for me, then, okay, I don't have a business partner and I keep all that money. So that's the way I look at it. Donnie Bear, thank you. You're welcome. Flash of light. Sadly, my work van is a minivan, and I've had stuff sticking out the front and rear window. A minivan is a lot smaller than a U-Haul cargo van. So true. So true. I mean, our original property management vehicle was a Kia Rio. I kid you not. We had one car when my wife and I got married. We had a car die. We were down to one car. It was a Kia Rio, and we had to go pick up tile once, like an hour and a half away. And we were like, every single time we hit a bump, it was like scrape, 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 because we had backloaded the car so badly. That was an amazing experience, but one that we get to talk about and laugh about right now. RW engineers, engineers being in real estate, good luck. Yeah, whatever. RW, you'll just bottleneck your growth. My growth hasn't bottlenecked at all. I buy every great opportunity I find. Maybe you do, but I don't. I'm good enough to manage it all. Matthew Paris. Sorry, Matt, can no longer hear you over the weed eater. LOL. I'll catch the rest on rerun. Cool. Thanks, man. Good stuff today. Thanks, Matt Paris. It's used on the Antoine Davis. It's used on the shower walls. Thermoglass? Then no, I'm not familiar. Oh, you mean the exterior? Is it used on the interior walls, Antoine, or the exterior wall? Like the door. I think you mean the actual walls. If that's the case, we haven't used that. I know that. Matthew Paris. Also, everyone like and share. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. RW. You personally attacked me saying I was a crappy landlord to gain clout. No, I did it. I did it based on what you said, which was you had a bunch of liabilities and you clearly couldn't manage them, so you pass it off to a landlord. That's fine. It's not about. Yeah. I mean, I'd spend the words trying to teach you, but you're not interested in learning. You're in here trying to give your agenda that, quite frankly, no one else cares about and no one else can learn from. So that's that. I want to keep on giving him a chance, but man, personally attack me, Jason C. Yeah, right. Yeah, somebody has a little bit of a God complex, personally attacked him. Exactly. BMU 7979, to each his own. I don't shred Mike ever for having a property manager. Never. We celebrate each other's differences. I might get to the point someday where I want a property manager or I hand over the portfolio. But for me, for now, for growth, for management and how I want to do things, I want to keep as much of that income as I possibly can. And I built the business locally for that reason. So I don't have to justify it to RW. He thinks he's awesome. Like, congratulations. If we all are to believe that he has 500 units and he's watching this, I just don't believe it. So that's fine. It's all good. I personally attacked him. Snowflake. Johnny Cashflow Ramirez, but he's worried about your growth, buddy. I know, right? He's so concerned about my growth. Johnny Cashflow, exactly. Jenny Medina, Matt, thanks. I appreciate all your insight. Jenny, you're always welcome. BMU, look at his net worth and look at yours, as long as it, yeah. So, and that's the thing is I don't share net worth because I don't really care about that number. I really care about cash flow and building a smart and fun and sustainable business. That's what I share my experiences with everybody else for, is because there's that one time a year where we fill out something called a PFS, a personal financial statement. That is a document that shows everything you own, its value, and then all of your liabilities. The rest of it just doesn't matter. The rest of it just doesn't matter, you know? And when you do that PFS, it's really all about cash flow and building a business that's successful. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. just kind of crazy. But yeah, like whatever. Joseph Haley, just kick rocks if you're going to clog the chat trying to argue. You're the only child, something. You seem to need a lot of attention. Yeah, he does, Joseph. True story. True story. Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind engaging people like that. I really don't. I mean, if you want to learn, like that's great that he is a property manager, but usually when you pick a property manager, because he was talking all about renter laws and liability and blah, 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 blah. I went through the process. I had an attorney read my lease, create my lease, actually create my lease. And then when you look at fair housing laws, just look them up. You should read them. Of course you should read them. You should know what they are. You can't discriminate. It's fairly straightforward. Most landlords do a really good job of not discriminating. It's first come, first serve. So yeah, I break more of a sweat with my morning constitution than I ever would with RW2. Evolve Properties. Matt, I've not seen you be adversarial on these live streams once. And here's this guy. Yeah, like I don't mind. Yeah, I don't care. I'll be adversarial. Like, again, at the end of the day, I just don't care. I don't care. If he thinks he did it better, dude, all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. I don't mind. Do your thing, bro. Whatever. You have a property manager. You're concerned about me getting to 500 units. See, the funny thing is he's a kingdom builder, right? So he wants as many units as he can possibly have because he thinks that that equals success. At the end of the day, it's really not. What equals success is as much return for as little work as possible. Dion's super successful at that. I'm pretty successful at that based on what my return is. And one of the things that the Three Amigos teaches is that look at the three of us. Completely different approaches to the business. But amazingly, we all make bank doing it. It's that simple. There's no one road. You can take a multitude of different paths and hybrids of different paths. That's why for me, I still watch other channels to see if I can get better. So yeah, he's a troll because he thinks that his way is the only way. And like, well, you have to scale. In where I have 3 towns that only have 50,000 people, there's only so much opportunity to scale. I don't want to go outside my markets. I want to stay right where I am because I waited later on in life to have kids. I want the kids involved and I want to spend as much time with my kids as I possibly can. So that's all. You can do it his way, just like you can do it like he was saying, be a wholesaler. Like you can do that too. There's plenty of successful wholesalers. There's plenty of failures too. So yeah, it's all good. Hopefully you guys don't mind the adversarial nature, but you kind of got a little bit of a glimpse of, I don't know, if you want to lock horns, we can lock. It's all good. BMU 7979. I have property all paid for and I'm content. Disposable income. Dude, it's awesome. Like I would never pay off a property for disposable income, but that's a strategy. It's good if you are the one that has to live with your strategy, not anybody else. David Yang, lumberjack landlord. Do you own commercial office, retail, warehouse, etc.? What do you think of those types of properties? Do you have a network of people who own office, retail, and warehouse? David Yang, that's a lot. So I'll give you the abridged version. I do own a little bit of office, a little bit of retail, no warehouse. What do I think about those properties? Generally speaking, I don't like them. Most of what I own that's like that is mixed use. So it's part commercial, part residential. I bought them because of what I could buy them for and the fact that I could still make all the numbers work really well. But I like retail and office. I like that stuff much, much, much less. Yeah, not a huge fan of it. Don't really like it. My network, I do have guys that do that stuff. But we don't talk a ton about it. They also own residential, so we talk about that. I asked them about the commercial stuff, and when it's working and like you get a great tenant and that they're gonna, they're there for 10 years, awesome. But like build outs and things like that. And, yeah, you can get some cost recapture and all the other stuff. It's just like, residential so much easier. It just is so much easier for me. And it's because I'm good at it than I am at better at that than commercial. BMU 79, you guys show the little guys how to come up. Yeah, I think so. That's what we want to do. BMU 7979, he is all SFR. Oh, single families? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't like single families in my market. They don't make any money. And in most markets, ask Dion, you're going to make a lot more money with small multifamily than you are with single families. Just a fact. Joseph Heffley. So back to shop talk. I'm quite handy and I like doing my own work. Love it. I have a framing background. Oh, very cool. Can do basic electric and plumbing. Is there anything I should get help with the first time? I mean, with YouTube University, like with all the content that's out there for people to view, I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot of really good stuff out there, like these amazing, these amazing Asian guys with like the tile and the quick fixes and like how they do the tile shifting and then how that gets them like the perfect cut and it looks amazing. Like if you can follow instruction well, I don't think so. I think that for electrical and for plumbing, whereas you can do it yourself, you probably want to connect with somebody that says, yes, I'll do, and you can tell them, I will pay you a fee to walk through and look at it, make sure it's all right before the inspector comes in. Because that's better than having the inspector look at it and go, wow, this isn't that good of a job, or it's a hack job or something like that. And it's not, I'm not trying to call you a hack, but obviously plumbers do it all day long. Inspectors know what they're looking for. That's where you can do it. So just because you can do it doesn't mean it's necessarily the right way to do it. And what the new code is and what the inspector wants to see. Like we had one inspector flag us for not putting wire stud protectors on every single stud. I'd never been flagged for that before, but we did, and we fixed it. But it was one of those things that had I had, an electrician that was local, he would have known that was going to be a problem. So stuff like that. So I don't think there's anything like out of the box that you have to do, blah, blah, blah. I would look at YouTube University and I would also make sure that you have somebody in the field that you can say, hey, listen, I'll pay you to basically pre-inspect this before the inspector comes. So that way when the inspector comes, I know that it's going to look right and look done. That's what I would do. I did that a couple of times. Yeah, that's what I would do. BMU 7979. Money is colorblind. It is. Don't disagree. It's also, I've seen that people complain about property management companies a lot more. And so when they become my tenants, they're just like, it's an amazing experience texting you and getting a response, if not from you, then from somebody, within a few hours. So yeah, again, I believe I can provide better service because I'm more invested in my future than the property manager. That's just a fee. Sell next day. Hey, Matt, what's going on? Sell next day. Good to have you. Just talking real estate. Glad you stopped by. Dion Talk Financial Freedom. There is no one right way to do this, but there is one right way for you. Exactly. That was in my earlier diatribe. Dion and I are on the same page. Robert Farinelli. I don't try to fight with Matt. I just try to make him go off or crack up, but I like throwing shade at West Manchester or something. Yeah, I got crushed in West Manchester. That's where my biggest failure was. That's the only piece of property I've ever sold that I lost money on, the actual deal itself. I didn't have to write a check at the table because I owned it for 15 or 16 years, but I still sold it for less than what I bought it for. But thankfully I aggressively paid down the mortgage. And so I still walked with a pretty huge check when it came time to sell it. But that was the one that went from D to C to B, quickly back to C, and then back to D very quickly. Let's see. Robert Farinelli. I don't try to, yeah, sorry. BMU. We have a troll. Yeah, no kidding, right? I mean, I wish you would be here to, wish you would be here to learn. Move on from the troll. Yep. Geez, this guy is taking up all the time. Yeah. Just curious. Are the three amigos planning to host an event soon? Yes, Jenny. We are talking about it. We're in active discussions now. The first celebration would be around, because we want to celebrate things. The first celebration would be around Mike, and we want Mike to pay for it. First celebration would be around Mike getting to 50,000 subs. That'd be the first celebration. And then 100,000 subs. That's the first, those are the next things that we're kind of keeping an eye on. So yeah, we don't know when that is. Mike's at like 32 or 33,000 now. So I would expect that could be as early as like October, as late as like February or March or January. So it'll be in the next 6 months. And then I think we'll probably have an event in 2023 would be my guess. That's my guess, which I'm excited to do because we actually haven't met yet. Dion was going to come over, but then Eliana, we were all put in quarantine, so that couldn't happen. And I think everyone told Mike we wouldn't fly to Fresno because you have to fly to SF and then you have to do a puddle jumper or a small commuter flight to Fresno. It's a lot of work. And Vegas is easy. I go to Vegas. Well, I used to go to Vegas multiple times a year. Sell next day. How with RW2? Yeah, exactly. David Yang. Late to the chat. What was RW2 saying? Nothing of value. BMU 7979. Freedom. Yep. Sell next day. Why are you still talking about him? Oh yeah, he'll get blocked again. I want to give everybody a chance to learn. And so if he's going to dispute, like I want him to give his views. Like I'm not a censor. I'm not a censor. If he gets to be a crybaby about it, then yeah, I'll just block him again. Let's see. Robert Farinelli, like how I shot the sample flooring just to help out my landlords in West Manchester. So Robert actually took the flooring that most of us buy from American Flooring Corporation and he shot it. And the reason why that's funny is because West Manchester has a high number of gun crimes. And so he's like, it needs to withstand that. And so then he decided that if he ever bought in the West End, that he wouldn't use that product because it didn't weather the shot very well. It was a good joke. BMU, show me the money. Yep. That is amazing to focus in 3 towns. Yeah, I mean, again, so it's really interesting. And this isn't a slight. This was really, truly an observation. The observation is that, so Mike owns like, call it 190, but he owns 190 homes in a market that's 1 million people. Or 190 units, excuse me, in a market that's 1 million people. I own 117 units in a market that's about 45,000 people. So I'm dense. Not the first time I'm sure you've heard this, but I'm wicked dense. So we have a name, we have a reputation, we know the towns, we know the inspectors, we know a lot of people. And so because of that, we work with people and we have relationship with people and we have relationship with tenants. And so, yeah, so that's the only reason, again, I make that comparison is 117 units out of 45,000 people. I'm not telling you the number of homes, but I own 18% of the 4 units and larger in my market, 18%. So have I cornered the market? No, but I own a big chunk of it. I'd like to own half. Maybe someday, just not yet. Just not today. I won't have a graphic there. That's Dion's thing. Matt Bittner, South Park season 11, episode 1 is the episode I was telling you about earlier. Okay. I think it's worth, Robert Farinelli, I think it's worth talking about him, talking about mindset is important in reaching financial freedom. Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's why I don't just block. I only block him when he like wants to fight. Like, okay, if you want to fight, like, okay. But yeah, I think everybody gets to their destination differently, and they do it in a way that works for them. And my way worked really well for me and made me millions upon millions of dollars. So I'll keep on doing it. And adding to it, quite frankly, we'll probably break some news on, I think we'll probably break some news on Tuesday. I think we'll break some news Tuesday with Mike. We're definitely going to break some news this week for sure. Yep. It's exciting news. BMU, all about buy price. Sell next day. Matt, are you near Brattleboro? I'm not. I'm on the ocean coast of New Hampshire. Yep. So Brattleboro is like 2.5 hours from me, I think, is how far Brattleboro is. BMU anchor stores. Yeah, anchor stores are key. The problem is most of those types of commercial properties, I think, really need like a big commercial guy to buy them, right? Because you're talking about multi-million dollar properties. It's just not my thing. And the reason why is because there's too many cycles where that's unsellable. And in bad economies, those people go out. And I'm not going to buy anything like a shopping center where there's like a TJ Maxx or a Best Buy. Like that's not my thing. I'm much more focused on the 2s, 3s, and 4s because I'm highly liquid. I've got liquid cash. I've also got liquid assets. So if I needed to sell 3 multifamilies tomorrow that I have a ton of margin in, I could sell those tomorrow. Even if the market's bad, I would still be able to sell those. A commercial property in a bad time, there's a ton of them available. They're very expensive and the terms are quite onerous, just way too heavily complicated. I'll just keep it simple with my small multifamily. Gary Lee, I live in an expensive urban market. Okay. Generally understood idea is that urban markets are more expensive because of price, appreciation, safety. Given COVID, do you think that premium will go away? Oh man, I don't know. That's a tough one. But Gary, thanks for asking the question. I think that's the opposite, in all honesty, the opposite of what I experienced. Everybody in the pandemic was running from Massachusetts, Vermont, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island. They were all running from those states to get to New Hampshire because our shutdowns weren't nearly as restrictive. So that's what we saw. I sold 3 properties during that during that cycle. I sold 3 properties. Every single buyer, without exception, was out of state. In fact, I'd say I was watching it, I was tracking it. I'd say 80% of the showings were out of state. That's why New Hampshire's median house pricing blew up, was because Massachusetts, much more expensive to live there, taxes, property values, everything. Connecticut, even more than Massachusetts. Rhode Island, pretty bad as well. New York, really, really bad, like the worst in the country. But that standard, right? Like you could sell a shoebox in New York and get $1 million, and here $1 million buys you a top 5% house. That's what really shifted in the market the most. So I don't think that there was safety from an urban perspective in those markets. I saw the exact opposite. I saw people fleeing those markets because they wanted to live life differently. So yeah, so I don't know how to answer that question because that wasn't my experience. I think that plenty of people regret having moved, but there's also a lot of people that haven't regretted it at all. I don't know what the percentages are. I see some polls sometimes, but it's also how you ask the question too. So yeah, so that wasn't my experience, but great question. Matt Bittner, when you make it to Odessa, you should have a family picture taken next to the town sign. I had my picture taken with the town sign where my family was from. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff that we'll do. Yeah, totally. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, because that'll be a once in a lifetime trip. I don't expect going. I mean, that's going to be a massively expensive time. Like when we go, because it's literally halfway around the world. When we go, we'll go for weeks. We're not going to go for like a 7-day stay or something. So yeah, for sure. Robert Fanelli. I used to be very negative a person. Still am, but trying to be more positive about things. Hard to with everything going on in the world. I like to on with this journey, but I do some hedging in case the Great Reset happens. Yeah, I mean, I think that if the Great Reset happens, we're all screwed. So it is what it is. Like that's truly how I look at that. If it happens, we're all screwed. So I'm not going to waste my time on energy like things like that. I'm going to spend my time with my family, building a business that cash flows, that helps other people. Yeah. Johnny Cashflow Ramirez. The bank that was giving me loans is now starting to ask for more info and looking at reserves. Oh yeah, they are. They didn't do that the past 2 years. Here it comes. This is the tightening that they'll start to do, and they're going to start to do a DTI valuation on you. This is what happens when things start to get tight. They start looking at reserves. And here's the crazy thing. One day it'll be, we really want to see 6 months in reserves. The next day it'll be, we really want to see 8 months in reserves. A month later, we really want to see 1 year in reserves. That happened. That absolutely happened in 7, 8, 9, and 10. That happened. It happened a lot. A lot. Yeah. So be prepared. Be prepared. Sell next day. Matt, what is the smallest amount of population you would invest in? So from experience, give me just 1 second. I'll tell you. I'll tell you the smallest town I'm invested in. I'll tell you exactly how big they are. They are. Oh, that can't be right. I don't know. Maybe it is. 2,500. I'm invested in a town that has 2,500 people. But let's look around, right? So I'm invested in a town that has 2,500 people. Within 15 minutes of this town, you have a naval shipyard. It's still part of the housing authority for the county, number 2. Number 3, it's within, again, all within 15 or 20 minutes. So commuting. It's that close to Liberty Mutual's global headquarters. The second largest office for Lincoln Financial Group. And one of the world's largest gun makers in cigars. Those are the top 5 employers. And then you have other stuff as well, which is like we have an airport, like a legit Air Force base that was converted to an airport, commercial airport. And that is a massive trade port where there's 3 or 4 major vendors that are major airlines that fly out of there, again, within 15, 20 minutes. So while the town itself is only 2,500 and town politics might be an issue, renters will look to that town because it's a nice small town. The covenants on land are really tough. So you need to have big sprawling spaces. And so it's more expensive to live there. It's more exclusive, and the town's kind of coming up. It was a town for a long time that was ignored. Also, one of the largest transportation companies is actually based out of there. So they have a ton of employers that are within 15, 20 minutes of there. And it gives you a little bit of a reduction in price from one of the towns I'm in. And it gives you a significant upgrade in quality of people and tenant over another one of the towns that I'm in, which is, a lot of, and when I say quality of people, I'm talking about like renter quality, against the next town that I live in, which is a lot of assistance. Hopefully that makes sense. David Yang, my family is tired of residential. Yep. We are tired of the headaches. Yep. We have been doing for 40 years. Okay. My family wants cash flow rents with less headaches, and commercial can offer that. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think that it's definitely a different game. It's definitely a different game. David Yang, I like residential more than commercial. Commercial seems more inflated than residential real estate. Hard decisions to make. Yeah, I wouldn't be buying anything commercial right now. I think the cap rates are absurd. I keep seeing stuff populate that's like 4%, 4.5, 5. I saw one that was 5 that pro forma at 6.5. Those cap rates are garbage. And that debt's going to reset much, much higher, I think, in the next, 3, 5, 7 years, I believe. And so for me, I like certainty. That's for me. I like certainty. And so I think that certainly for retail perspective, I think there's certainty there in a negative way. That's my belief. And so I'm kind of just putting my chips to the center of the table to play in an arena where I can get out of properties quickly, and where the cash flow is really good. And I don't need a massive buyer to kind of swoop in and be able to get a deal done. And that also puts my bank at ease. I help balance their portfolio. So that helps me get deals done with them, right? They do a big, $8 million deal on some apartment building or not apartment building, some, hotel or complex or something like that, or some strip mall, where they're a portion of the debt or even all of the debt. And for me, I can get, that's 8 million's a ton, but let's just say I do 4 deals and that's, 2.2 million, 2.5 million. Largely speaking, that is a much less risky asset for me and for the bank, because those can be liquidated very quickly. That big complex, not. Much fewer buyers, bigger pockets, but fewer buyers. Robert Finelli, yeah, SIG was going to make a new building in your market and hire at least 1,000 people. I chose the wrong market. LOL. Yeah. They've done 3 buildings in my market. Yeah. They got the Army contract. They got the Marine contract. And then they got another contract. They got 3 massive contracts with the military. Massive. They're only growing. They're now the Beretta 9mm is no longer the standard in the military. It's a P320. So yeah, that's not a thing. No, that was a huge game changer for sure. Gary Lee. So I agree. So the perception is that your dollar was safer parking $1 in New York City versus Houston. That thesis is unclear now based on what you said, especially if migration away from density continues. Yeah, Gary Lee, that's perfectly insightful. That's the challenge, is that New York's always New York, and they're resilient. And will the politics of New York, and when I say that, I mean like tax codes and things like that, will that continue to, will that persist if the market shifts? And so for me, I don't want to own anywhere near us. I'm not interested in the city. I'm interested in a different life. And so Boston, not an investor at all, no interest, just not interested at all on any level. Manchester, which is the largest city in New Hampshire, it's about 120,000 people. Most people insert laughter here. But I spend time in a 30,000 person market, just under 30,000 in one market, about 15 in another, and 2,500 in the other. That's where I spend all of my time in that market. So I've really mastered my market is the best way of putting it, only because I know the area inside and out. I know the bad streets. I know the good streets. I know where you get higher rents. I know the school systems. Like, I know all of that stuff inside and out. And I know all the contractors, city officials, all of that stuff. I built a business here. It took 20 years, but that's where I think that there's a certain advantage for me. Todgren Hargit. Are you utilizing any non-QM money or just legacy banking loans? Do the non-QM organizations require reserves? Yes. So no on utilizing any non-QM. I don't have any non-QM loans yet. The reason that I don't is because my bank gave me better terms. When they created a product that we kind of worked back and forth, and I said, well, this is what I want to see in the product. Or I'm just going to take these 10 deals to a non-QM lender. They said, let us see what we can do. They made a product, got it approved by the board based on what we talked about. And so they got all that business. I didn't need a non-QM. The non-QM rate was higher. It was significantly higher. And if I can keep my business with that bank, I'm good. They do a great job working with me, servicing my loans. And I like the people there. I like all the executives I now know. And we can have real conversation. So yeah. So I think, so from a non-QM perspective, I don't use any yet. The rates were higher. I had a bank make a product for me. And that's what I continue to do. Second part of it is, do the non-QM organizations require reserves? So yes, they will. If they don't now, they will. It really depends on which non-QM. Because they want to see that the building cash flows, but they're lending based on the building. And so if they're thinking, hey, recession is coming, they're going to want to see more reserves to know that those dollars can still come in. I don't know what Steve Dow's reserves are or what they require. We hadn't gotten that far. But I know that they vary. They do vary vendor to vendor. Robert Fairnelly, are we talking Rollinsford and Somersworth? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep, those are two. Robert Fairnelly, but then again, SIG was also making the state-of-the-art shooting range in Raymond, so that would help Manchester, maybe. Probably not. I think that people matriculate from east to west. Manchester, they go, 2 towns west, and you have enough open field to shoot whatever you want. But yeah, Raymond, Epping, Portsmouth, Dover, and Exeter, I think. They have a ton of campuses now. They keep on growing that quickly. They just do. And I have a lot of friends that work for SIG. They love their job. It's a really good job. It's a really good company, quite frankly. They really take care of their people, from what I've heard so far. Wow, I think that's it. Guys. We did it. We made it. A lot of real estate talked about in 3 hours. This was all for Dion, showing that I could do 3 hours again, because it's been a long time since I've done 3 hours. But I got 8 hours sleep. So 3 hours isn't a problem when I get 8 hours sleep. Jerneil, oh, there he is. Jerneil just showed up. Oh my goodness. Hey, Jerneil. Glad I caught you before the end. Do you know where the market is where you can buy and sell notes? Ooh, I don't know that market. Yeah, I don't know that market. I think Zub would know that market, Zuber, or Anna Kelly. I would comment on one of hers, or if you follow her on Facebook, REI Mom. She's spectacular. We've connected on a couple of things in the past. We've always said when things slow down a little bit, we'd love to do something together. But I'm just such a huge fan of hers, with her finance background, having worked for AIG, understanding the market. I think she's got, I want to say her portfolio size is like 160 million. Some of that she owns, some of it is syndicated that she does with other investors. But brilliant woman. And you won't find a nicer person on the planet. She's just an amazing person. Super, super nice. So I don't know, but I would definitely take a peek with REI Mom for sure. Yeah, I would definitely do that. Joseph Heffley. Thanks, Matt. You're welcome. Robert Finelli. Thanks, Matt. You're very welcome, Robert. Good luck stripping that door. Hit that. Yeah, Rich Boudreau. Thank you, my friend. Hit that like button. Yeah, please, on your way out, if you haven't already, hit that like button. That's how we get the YouTube algorithm to pay attention to us. Joel C. Hi, Matt. Love your insight and content. Do you have any tips on where I can analyze new markets? The best way to analyze new markets is if you haven't done Michael Zuber's One Rental at a Time course, I would do that. If you're doing that course, it's like $300 or something. It's not expensive. It's like 350 bucks, something like that. But that's the best way to analyze markets. That's the best use of market analyzing, because you have to do that work on a daily basis. So after kind of 60, 90 days, you know exactly what the best market is. So yeah, that's what I would recommend to you is One Rental at a Time. If you haven't bought the course already, buy it. Then there's a special Facebook group as well that you get to be a part of and no additional charge. Sounds like a commercial for him, but I believe in his process. It works. It's what I did when I was getting good. And so that's why like Mike and I kind of bonded so quickly together, is because we just kind of believe in the same, repetitive approach, and understanding and doing the work yourselves and figuring out the numbers. And that's where it really comes from. So yeah, it's huge. Togrin Hardgrit, appreciate you, my man. Hey, thank you. I appreciate you guys too. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me for the day. I'm going to go spend some time with my kiddos, get ready for Eliana's last week in radiation. Thank you, Lord. And grateful for the amazing outcome. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. And I promise next time I'll be faster to the block button for trolls, and we'll make sure to not spend any time on them. Although I really do want to give people the opportunity to voice something, because you never know. There's always a chance you might learn something from a troll. So I appreciate you guys. Have a great, great, great weekend. Hit that like button on the way out. And I'll be updating Tuesday on the deal that I'm working on now on Mike's channel. Talk to you guys soon. Take care. Have a great week, everybody. Bye now.